on certain days out of the week, okay? And we're going to mix in some topics. We're going to mix in some panels. If you used to watch me on my main TikTok, or even if you used to watch me on Facebook, because some of y'all have been down since Facebook. Listen, I love y'all bad, okay? But either way, if you used to watch any one of those, y'all know that we used to do a lot of topics. We used to get into a lot of what was going on in the world, a lot of current shit, politics, health, wealth, everything and anything and everything and anything. So we're going to kind of get back to that, okay? So I'm only going to be doing readings Mondays, Wednesdays, and possibly Fridays. We'll see. Oh, and Sundays. So if I don't do Fridays, I'll definitely be doing Sundays regardless. But we're going to mix it up a little bit, okay? And get some more topics. And y'all know I like to talk about other shit. I just don't want this to be a page where we just be doing readings, and that's cool, you know what I'm saying? But I also want to make sure that we're incorporating a lot of other stuff, okay? So feel free to put topics in the comments. I'll take mental notes of everything. So if you put a topic in the comments like, hey, Poca, next time let's talk about X, Y, and Z, we could do that. You know what I'm saying? There's really nothing that I won't talk about. Honestly, there's really nothing that we can't go over, we can't chit chat about. So I'm pretty open with that. If it does just so happen to be one of those things that I'm like, that's not for me, then I'll let y'all know. But y'all know, if you watch my other channels, then you kind of know, or pages, you kind of know there's not too much that we don't go over, that we don't talk about, okay? No, my other page did not get banned, but my live stream got banned. So my page is still up. I still use it. Still my current page, my main page, but I don't live stream from that page, okay? Yes, I do personal readings. And speaking of personal readings, before we get started, I do have a special right now on my website. If you purchase any service for $55, then you get an automatic 10% off of an additional service. So I'm going to put my website and the promo code in the comments. Feel free to head over there and check it out. Once you put the promo code in at checkout, it will automatically calculate or recalculate your price to give you the 10% off of the additional service. Also, we do have a live goal for every reading. This is just to show your thanks, your gratitude for me doing this. Again, I don't get paid to give y'all readings and to do all of this chit chat. So this is just a way to say, hey, Poca, we appreciate you, girl. You talking that shit. You doing your thing. Yes, girl. Everything you said, yes. And I'm saying, yes. I know right now, for some people, you cannot upload money for the gifts. Right now, TikTok is still in a contract exchange right now with the government. So if you can't gift, it's absolutely okay. But make sure you tap in with them likes, okay? Make sure that you share this motherfucking live, okay? That's the best thing that you could do, all right? Other than that, I wanted to get into today's topic, which is the real of spirituality. I feel like a lot of times people come into spirituality and you listen to these bigger accounts or these quote-unquote spiritualists, and they have all of this advice and they're giving you all of these different, things that you should be doing and ways that you should be living your life and all of that. And y'all know me, I'm very unconventional when it comes to the way that I teach, the way that I give y'all information, the way that I help, the way that I counsel, the way that I mentor, the way that I consult. All of those things, I'm very, very unconventional. Yeah. I don't do it the way that everybody else do it. And in the beginning of me coming on a platform and starting to share my sauce on how to get through this shit, I took a lot. A lot of people was in my comments. Whoo, they was not liking it. They was not feeling the vibe, babe. But eventually, I always say those who are for me are for me. Those who resonate with me are the people that I'm here for. So I don't take it personal. I just say, well, maybe I'm just not the spiritualist for you. But there are a lot of, things that I want to go over today. Thank you. I appreciate y'all as well, very much. And this topic was kind of inspired by the drama that's going on with Tonight's Conversation podcast. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Tonight's Conversation podcast. If you're not, I'm going to kind of give you just an overall kind of summary of what's going on. You probably have seen a lot of clips of them. You may just not know what they're called. But basically they are a mobile podcast, and I say mobile because they do a lot of shows and they tour, and they do like, you know, their podcast on the road. And basically they do a lot of like relationship counseling. They do a lot of like advice on like dating and, you know, womanhood and manhood. Thank you for the gift, Sugarfoot. And, you know, like a lot of different topics, you know, along those lines. And what's going on right now, the controversy that is happening right now with Tonight's Conversation podcast is there are members who are leaving the podcast, number one, because allegedly they were not getting paid. Okay? I mean, that's a great reason to leave, especially with the traction that podcast has, okay? And the money that they're definitely making off of social media and posting and YouTube and a whole bunch of other shit, okay? The business side. But that's their money, it's not my business. But the bulk of it was also because of the hypocritical behind the scenes versus what they kind of display to the public, right? And this is not the first time we've had or we have seen a big platform or, you know, certain people who are known for giving specific advice be the same ones who are not taking their own advice behind closed doors, or who are actually horrible people behind closed doors. Okay? And that's why I wanted to talk about the real of spirituality today, because y'all know, if you know me, I think everything is very much so spiritual, and there's a lesson in everything, as long as you're looking at it from the right perspective and, you know, you're getting what you need to get out of it. And the biggest thing I want to say is, when it comes to social media, period, we're in this weird place where everybody is so obsessed with putting social media influencers or celebrities on these platforms or these pedestals, right? Where these people can do no wrong, right? Or you think that they are just the best thing since sliced bread. And it's just, number one, you take out the humanistic part of that person and you kind of make them like this idol figure, you know, which could be very detrimental, especially when that person starts to disappoint you by doing human shit, you know. But also it stops you from living in reality, okay? When you think that people are not people at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? No matter if they are spiritualists, no matter if they are celebrities, no matter if they are influencers or whoever, them people are still people at the end of the day. And nobody is showing you everything. Nobody is showing you everything. Nobody is showing you everything that's happening behind closed doors. Nobody is showing you everything that they're doing. Nobody is telling you everything that's going on. There's no influencer, no celebrity, no person that has a platform that is giving you detail for detail every fucking thing that's happening in their life. Unrealistic, okay? Makes no sense. So for a lot of these people to think that they can look up to these people and take every word that they say as law is just crazy, okay? Y'all know, if you know me, again, if you're familiar with my platform, if you're familiar with, you know, the way that I do shit, you know, I always tell y'all, research. Anything that I say, go double back and research it. Don't just listen to me talk and be like, oh, yeah, Poca said it, so that means it gotta be X, Y, and Z. Don't do that, okay? Research not only to find the information for yourself, but to also get an understanding for yourself so that you can formulate your own opinion. Because everything is not for everybody. And just because I said it or just because somebody else said it doesn't mean that you need to live your life by it if it does not resonate with you or resonate with your life. Okay? And I've been saying that shit to my people since I hopped on live. Okay? Back in 2016, whatever. 17, whatever the fuck I started. I don't know. It was a long time ago. Okay? Don't take anything that I say for face value. I don't care what the fuck it is. Double back and double check everything that you hear, everything that you see, everything that you read. Especially now that we have so much access to, yes, baby, this is a new account. Especially now that we have so much access to information, there is no reason why anybody shouldn't be investigating and doing extra, work on the side to make sure that whatever they're being told and whatever they're being shown is what it is. We have no excuse. We have the most access to information than we've ever had in human history. Literally. Okay? Literally. There's no, point in time where the people had as much access as we have today. And every single day we're gaining more access. Every day there's more being revealed, there's more information, there's more knowledge, and it speaks to us. Like I said, I'm gonna always tie it back to the spiritual community and what's going on. It speaks to us being in the age of Aquarius. We're in the age of Aquarius where information is key, and information is partnering up with technology. So both of these things are going hand in hand for the next 1,000+ years. Because we're going to be in the age of Aquarius for the next, at least, if I'm not mistaken, 1,600 years or something along those lines. 14 to 1,600 years. We got a little minute, okay? We are going to take our last breath in the age of Aquarius. Okay? So you need to get familiar with and get comfortable with technology, especially AI. You need to get comfortable with it. If you have been in this space where you like, oh, I don't want to get into AI and I don't want to, let it go, let it go. You gotta get into AI. It is what it is. That shit is about to take over, and we're in the beginning stages of it, and it's already doing numbers. And this is why I be telling y'all. Again, going back to the real of spirituality, you have a lot of spiritualists who came out because spirituality had this crazy growth spurt 2020, right? And that's because, number one, energetically we were transforming, and then also politically and in the world, we were in a space where we could kind of sit down and not move around as much as we used to, right? And when you're moving around so much, you working a job, you taking care of bills, and you over here, you over there, you don't have enough time to sit and reflect and to tap in, right? So the powers that be, or the powers that think that they are, okay, because they're not in power no more, for real. But the powers who think that they powers, they thought that they were going to use what happened in 2020. I'm not going to say the word because, they be ready to flag some shit. They thought that they was going to use that, for their benefit. And ultimately, it kind of went against what they thought. It kind of worked for the benefit of the people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us tapped in. A lot of us started to really look more into basic things like religion and politics and wealth and abundance and the universe and energies and information and knowledge and history. I mean, a lot of us just spent a lot of time going down different rabbit holes within that period of time, right? And we was at home for at least a good 9 months before they was like, okay, y'all could go back outside and, do whatever y'all want to do now. And even then, we were still kind of restricted a little bit with the mask and, all of that good stuff, right? So it ultimately didn't really work out the way that they thought it was. It worked out for the people. It benefited the people, especially those who took, yes, sweetheart, this is a new page. I still have my other pages, but this is a new page. It's the only page I go live from, so make sure y'all follow and turn on y'all live notifications, okay? But especially for the people who had a duty in this age to reawaken, right? Come into knowledge and understanding and use that information to help themselves, their families, and the collective. So if you experience any type of awakening, right, or reawakening, right, during 2020 or anytime after that, it was purposeful, right? We don't do coincidences. We don't just think that shit just happens just because it's Tuesday. No. Okay. We know that everything happens for a reason, and everything is cause and effect. Right? So if everything is cause and effect, then nothing can be coincidental, right? Nothing just happens if everything is cause and effect, right? Something caused it and caused it to have a certain effect, right? Now, what we learned from 2020 is that the quote unquote powers that be, a lot of their old tricks no longer have any type of relevance to us, right? We can see that shit coming a mile away, right? Especially because there was a lot of, again, information being revealed. We had a rise in social media, which means our ability to connect and share information went up, right? Social media was already getting more popularized, right? If you a millennial, then you know, baby, we was on MySpace, Black Planet. We had the virtual sites. You know, we are the internet, generation, right? We popped that shit off. But even with us being so invested into those social networks at that time, it still didn't pop as much as it did in 2020. 2020 social media saw a whole new level of pop, right? It got way more popularized because that was the only way that we can communicate. Number one, thank y'all for the gifts. But number two, because the information that was available, people didn't have to worry about the things that they made us kind of worry about, right? You gotta go to work. You gotta get up and do this. You gotta pay this bill. You gotta be stressed out about this and stressed out about that. And you gotta deal with this and deal with that. A lot of that shit we didn't have to worry about, at least for a couple of months. So there was no fear of you being put out your house if you didn't go to work, because everybody wasn't going to work. You know what I'm saying? They stopped, evictions and things like that. Some landlords, waived the fees for some of those months, or they were just more willing to work with you, more understanding, or whatever. There was a lot of things that were happening that allowed people to be more comfortable to tap into things that actually matter. And that goes back to the initial purpose of them even creating the job in the job field, period, right? It's not just so that we can have people to do certain things and so we can have certain things, but it's also to be a huge distraction to us being able to just live our lives and teach our children and grow our families and become better people. There would have always been a need for people to work or to do work, right? Because things have to happen. We have to have food, which means that we have to have agriculture. We have to have farmers. We have to have, grocery stores. You know what I'm saying? We got to have transportation. There was always going to be a need for people to work. However, the way that life is set up for us specifically, and most importantly in the United States, it never gave us permission to focus more on our life outside of work. Everything was work focused, career focused, business focused, right? So for example, you have other countries that care more about the people than they care about the workforce, right? I can't remember which exact country it is. I want to say like New Zealand or something like that. Don't quote me, okay? I could be completely wrong. But it's like one of those countries like that where they literally will pay you for maternal leave, and they'll let you be off for a year, up to a year, after you have a baby, for the mother and the father. You know what I'm saying? You get free education. They have like times for you to nap and to rest at work. You're not expected to work a whole 8 to 12 to 16 hour shift, just period, just flat out. Like they have sections in the offices where you can go and lay the fuck down and take a nap and do what you need to do. And they have child care, and they have so many provisions, free health care, you know, so many different things to allow those people to not just be workers. You know what I'm saying? They actually value quality of life. They want you to have a quality life, especially because of the fact that you're working to better an environment. You know what I'm saying? Canada may too. Okay. Yeah, listen, babe. I don't quote either of us because we don't know. But the fact is that the shit exists. You know what I'm saying? Even down to like the prison systems. There's prison systems in certain countries that actually encourage the prisoners to live better lives by treating them good. They get damn near what we would deem 5-star meals. They get actual jobs where they make real actual money, not pennies. You know what I'm saying? They get rehabilitation. They get therapy and, you know, psychotherapy and, you know, different things to help them actually be rehabilitated and be back into society. Whereas here, you know, a lot of it is based on how can we make money off of these people living in this prison system. How can we, you know what I'm saying, make money based off them, you know, basically like how they do the kids in these other countries and make them make clothes for 15 cents. And then the company go and make $2,000 per shirt. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of what's happening now, and I had a friend text me last night and was like, well, what's your opinion on the next 4 years energetically, you know, based on what's going on? And I'm going to share with y'all what I shared with her. The next 4 years are going to be completely life-changing. Completely life-changing. In so many different ways. Okay? In so many different ways. More ways than you can imagine. More ways than you can imagine. Okay? Number one, energetically, there's a lot of transformation happening on an energetic standpoint, right? This is why we as people who are tapped in or spiritual, and when I say spiritual, I mean spirituality is your lifestyle. You eat, sleep, breathe your spiritual being. Okay, you understand who you are. You know that you're a God. You know that you are energy. You understand that this body is not your who you are. It's just a vessel. You know what I'm saying? People like that. You know what I'm saying? We already can tell the difference in the vibration, right? A lot of y'all can already tell that this year is going to be very, very different and very transformative, right? It kind of reminds me of the energy that I was feeling before 2020 happened. You know what I'm saying? I can remember specifically May of 2019. I was texting one of my best friends, and I was telling him, like, there is something big coming. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, right? I'm not being shown exactly what it is, but I know something huge is on the way. Okay, I had no idea that in a couple months everything that happened in 2020 was going to happen. Okay, and I had that feeling May of 2019, right? So it takes me back to last year, 2024. We're talking about the calendar year, not the official year, not the energetic cycle, right? We know that the new year officially starts in Aries season, spring equinox, okay? But we know that in the calendar year of 2024, I personally was having that same feeling about 2025. I'm like, there's something coming. There's something big that's about to happen. There's a transfer of wealth that is happening. Okay, and it's slowly happening. If you're paying attention and you're looking at shit from the right perspective and you're tapped in with spirit source, your spirit team, ancestors, spirit guides, higher self, there's a transfer of wealth that is about to happen. Okay, and a lot of what you guys have been going through has been preparing you to be in position. This is why a lot of shit has not been making sense, especially in the prior years. Okay, I really want to say 2018, really 2017, for some of y'all 2012, but specifically 2017 to 2024. It's been a lot of changes in y'all lives. A lot of major changes, okay? Not just like little shit, like, you know, I was with somebody and then we broke up. Like, no, like life changes, okay? Like moving to the other side of the country, or having children, or switching careers, or starting a career, or having losses as far as like family members or loved ones, or evictions, job losses, being fired. I mean, so many things have been happening, okay? Even when it comes to like healing on a deeper level, like a lot of things from your childhood has been revealed. A lot of things that you didn't even know about yourself has been shown to you. A lot of y'all have really found out more about yourself in the last 5 years than you did your entire life. Okay, specifically the last 3 years, but definitely the last 5 years, a lot of y'all have learned life-changing shit about yourself, about your abilities, about your gifts, about your talents, okay? And all of it has been happening to put you in position for what is about to transpire over these next 9 years. Now, we are ending a 9-year cycle, okay? This is a 9-year, and the cycle started, I want to say 2017. Hold on, let me do the math. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So 2016, 2017 is when we technically begin that new cycle, okay? And that's why I said 2016, 2017 up until now has been very transformative for a lot of you guys, because of the fact that that was the start of that first 9-year cycle that we kind of experienced, right? And now we're getting out of that, and we're starting a whole completely different 9-year cycle with new information, with new knowledge, with new things happening on all levels, okay? On all levels. Personal lives are changing, political things are changing, universal things are changing. We're seeing so much happen right now, right? And this is why a lot of you guys have been called to spirituality. I know for me personally, and then a lot of the people who, resonate with my energy, whether you're here right now or whether you've watched any of my other content, a lot of us have left religion. And that was probably one of the hardest phases or some of y'all are currently in that phase, but that could definitely be one of the hardest phases of this journey, especially if you were already religious. Right? A lot of people weren't originally religious, so it was kind of just tapping in. But there were a lot of us who were born and raised, especially us, who was born and raised in that church. Okay? Just, baby, eat, sleep, breathe, Jesus. Okay? And thank you for the gift. Shout out to y'all. Again, all gifts are appreciated but not required. It just is a way to say thank you, and I appreciate it so much. If you can't gift, just get them likes up for me, and make sure you share this video so we can get in the algorithm. But a lot of us, took a lot of hits, especially when it came to family relationships. Us tapping more into our spirituality and us having this awakening definitely forced some of us out of our comfort zone when it came to family relationships, when it came to really formulating our own idea of what life is and what life should be and how we should carry ourselves. And this is why I've always said spirituality is a lifestyle. It's not just something that you pick up and you put down. If you really have any type of connection or conversation, or if you are yourself a real spiritual person, or real spiritual people, that everything that they eat, sleep, and breathe has something to do with spirituality. You know what I'm saying? There is really not much that we don't consider spiritual. You know what I'm saying? The food that we put in our bodies, we look at it differently. The clothes that we wear, we look at it differently. The way that we carry ourselves, we look at it differently. The way that we connect and the people that we connect with, we look at that shit completely different. We're not the type to just be out here. Thank you so much for the gift. We're not the type to just be out here doing anything with anybody, getting into anything. And when you really have made it a lifestyle, when you start going against the shit that you normally would do. Because a lot of us would normally prior to our awakening or reawakening, or prior to us getting more in tune with our journey, you know, that there was a lot of shit that we would do. There's a lot of different people that we would be around. There's a lot of, you know, shit that we would get into that wasn't for us, for sure. But we didn't have the connection and the relationship with ourselves enough to distance ourselves from those things, or to not participate in those things. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate them so much. But now that we are in this space, right, now that you have done the work, now that you have seen what you've seen, one thing you know when you get into this journey is once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. Once you know it, you can't unknow it. It just is what it is. It be what it be, and you got to do whatever you need to do to cope. There's no going back to other relationships and old people and old things without that shit weighing on your conscience. Without you kind of wrestling with yourself internally. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be in the wrong environments. You cannot have the wrong friends. You can't even date the wrong people. Okay? You can't even date the wrong people. That shit could be the difference between you being successful and moving forward versus you taking 900,000 steps backwards in the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying? So this journey is very eye-opening, sometimes to the point where it fucking sucks. And again, this live is going to be about the realities of spirituality. And a lot of people don't cover that this shit sucks sometimes. It sucks. Like, to act like it's all light and love and this shit is all just amazing and it's a walk in the park and I just really, really love this and everything about it is just so happy and hunky-dory. That is false as hell. This shit sucks sometimes. It sucks so bad to the point where you like, damn, I should have just stayed asleep. Sometimes you want to just go back to being, to not having the knowledge. Sometimes you want to go back to not having the answers and not doing the research. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want to go back to not doing all of the work that you've done and not healing from all of the things that you've healed. Because once you know better, you're required to do better. And your higher self, the real you, is your higher self, right? That's the soul. The real you won't even let you go back to that shit without it weighing on your soul so bad. Thank you, honey bun. It won't even let you get back to it. It won't even allow you to get into that place. It won't even... You can't even do the old shit you used to do comfortably. And you'll try. You know what I'm saying? When you get into this journey and you get a little irritated with having to make the best decisions and, you know, having to trust your intuition and having to do the right thing, okay? You'll be like, let me just go back to what I know real fast, right? You'll be tempted because there's so much pressure in a sense that you like anything that can get me out of where I am right now, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? If I could just feel better for a couple minutes, for a day, if I could just forget about having to do all of this work for a moment, you know, let me take that moment. And once you go back to that old shit, you realize it don't even hit the same. It don't even hit the same. You'll be so uncomfortable in those old environments that it's ridiculous. You'll be so uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the fact that when you first start to tap in, there's a lot of isolation, right? There's a lot of spending time by yourself, you know, being more in hermit mode, you know what I'm saying? Being more isolated, being more private, you know what I'm saying? A lot of things are happening behind closed doors. So there's a lot of isolation, a lot of being to yourself, right? And that can get lonely. Okay, I've seen somebody in the comments say it can be lonely, and it absolutely can be very lonely. You'll want to have people around like you used to. You'll want to be able to talk to people like you used to. You'll want to date people like you used to. But again, once you put yourself out there and you try to do it like you used to, it's like almost instantly you regret that shit. Almost instantly you regret it. It don't feel the same. It don't hit the same. It's like those people are not the same, but in reality, they are the same, right? And you realize how wrong you have been about a lot of people, and how you've connected with a lot of people that you never should have connected with, how you've had relationships with a lot of people that you never should have had relationships. Hey, you realize, you know what I'm saying, that you should have never had those people in your life, or you should have never been doing some of those things that you was doing, because spirituality takes those blinders off your eyes. You can no longer pretend like the shit don't stink, because now you don't got no nose plugs in, and that shit is boofing. You know what I'm saying? That shit stank. It's horrible. Alright? You can't take it. You're like, I want to get out of here immediately. I can remember, you know, spending, and I've always been the type to kind of be isolated a little bit. I don't like too many people in my space. Never have. But going through my spiritual journey, and again, it put me in a whole different space of isolation. Like, I was super isolated to the point where not only was I not being around people, but I also wasn't talking to people at all. Like, my phone, if my phone rang, it had to be a scam number. If I got a text, it was probably my phone service company telling me that my bill was about to be due. It was to that point. No friends, no family, no relationships, no none of that. I was completely isolated. And I can remember sitting in a house and being like, damn, like, I really want to be around people. You know what I'm saying? I really want to, you know, go out and at least, you know, sit with somebody or eat with somebody or shit, text somebody for a couple minutes or have a little conversation on the phone or something. You know what I'm saying? You just start to really crave human connection even more, right? And then I remember when I would, you know, force myself or try to force myself to do those things and be on the phone with people or force myself to go out with people, and the whole time all I could think about was, I can't wait until I get back home by myself. Oh my God, why did I agree to this? I should have just stayed home. Why am I here? Why are they here? I would try to invite people to my house, and then I'd be wanting them to leave immediately. Like, once they got there, probably like 5 minutes later, I'm like, damn, how do I get them out of my house? I know that they just got here. They just drove all the way over here, and they think we about to chill and we about to, you know what I'm saying, get a little bit of Mary Jane going on. And how the fuck can I get them out? To the point I used to fake emergencies. I would, you know, pick up my phone, and you can go to the settings on iPhone and go to sounds and adjust the volume, and it'll make it sound like your phone ringing. Baby, I would do that so quick. And then I'd be like, oh my God, what happened? You in an emergency room? What? Oh my, how long you gonna be there? You just got there and they want to keep you. What? Oh my God, I'm about to get dressed right now. Stay where you are. I'm on the way. And I get up, I'm like, you'll never believe. You'll never believe what happened. This person, because I ain't never want to put nothing on my family members, so I'd be like, I got a family emergency. I gotta go right now. I'm so sorry. We're gonna have to do this another day. I hope you understand, babe. And they would leave, and I would get right back in my bed, right back in my goddamn bed, roll up whatever I'm gonna roll up, and have an amazing time by myself. And eventually, I just stopped trying. I'm like, obviously, I need this time to be isolated. Obviously, I need this time to be by myself. Let me just start capitalizing off of it. You know what I'm saying? Let me figure out ways to be more comfortable in this space. Because what I learned was I never had time to just be with me. And when I was with me, I didn't even know what to do. So I would just sleep, or roll up, or spend a whole bunch of time watching TV or movies or whatever, or eating, or, you know, like, I didn't know what to do with me. I had no idea. I only knew what to do if there was somebody else involved. You know, I knew how to entertain people, or to be entertained, or to go out and, you know, have lunch and dinner and whatever with other people. I knew all of that, right? I knew how to take care of other people. I knew how to connect with other people, but I didn't know how to connect with myself. And that was such a huge lesson for me. It's like, damn, you spend all this time alone and you don't even know how to connect with yourself. You spend all this time by yourself and you don't even know how to, you don't even know what to do with yourself. You know what I'm saying? And the things that you're doing aren't necessarily you spending time with yourself. It's just you doing shit. Right? So then I had to learn how to invest more into myself. Okay, taking myself out. Spending quality time with myself. Talking to myself. Literally communicating with myself as if I was another person. Right? Trying out different methods of healing and shadow work. And I started to make shadow work fun for me, because a lot of people tapping in with healing and shadow work, it's already a lot that comes with that. You know what I'm saying? So the last thing you want to do is make it even more taxing by having this outlook on it that is like homework. You know, homework has such a negative connotation, because who likes doing homework? You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is like, ugh, I don't want to do this damn homework. I've been sitting in school for 8 hours, and then you want me to come home and do more school shit? I don't want to do that, right? And that's kind of like the dark cloud that healing sometimes has over it, where it feels like fucking homework. It's like, ugh, who wants to do that? So I had to turn it into field trips, metaphorically speaking, right? I had to turn it into, you know, those days where you'll go to science class and you'll do science experiments, and it was a fun day because you didn't have to sit there and look in that damn book all day. You could like turn some type of liquid purple, you know what I'm saying, by mixing this and mixing that, and then you got a purple liquid, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was shit that you could do to kind of take your mind off. Thank you for the gifts, babe. To kind of take your mind off being in this mentality of this is work, this is work, this is work, right? So I started doing shit with myself. I started to make healing fun, right? And of course, it wasn't going to be fun every day, because there were certain parts of your healing that hit harder than others. Childhood trauma healing, healing from toxic parents, healing from toxic relationships, accepting certain things about yourself, especially when it comes to your appearance or who you are, things of that nature. There's a lot of that shit that's not fun. And there's really no way that you can make that fun, right? But when I had moments like that, I would then turn it to, okay, I did the hard work, so now I'm going to reward myself with something fun. So if I just spent 3 days crying and snotting because I've been healing the childhood trauma, when them 3 days is up, I'm going to do something for myself. Whether I'm going to spend a little money and buy myself something that I want, whether I'm going to take myself out to eat or order me some food that I want, whether I'm going to go get me some ice cream, whether I'm going to go to the movies, or, you know, something. I'm going to reward myself for doing the hard work, so that way I'm not teaching myself that healing just feels negative and that it's just all bad, and that, you know, you're always going to feel this low when you're doing healing work. Because again, it's already a lot. Thank you for the gifts, honey bun. It's already a lot that you're doing. It's already a lot that you're getting into. It's already different things that you're uncovering that you didn't even know was there. Okay, so you're getting surprises. Okay, every day is a fucking surprise. Especially when you start to get consistent with this journey. It's like, God damn, here we are with this. I didn't even know that this was a problem. I didn't even know that I felt this. I didn't even know I had a problem with this. I didn't even know that this affected me. I didn't even know that this was here, period. What the fuck is this? Where did this come from? There's already a lot of shit going on. So learning to reward yourself through the healing process is something that really helped me personally, and it's something that you can try to kind of help you navigate it and feel better about doing what you're doing, right? Now, somebody asks, how do you start to remember things from your childhood? Childhood is one of those times where a lot of different things happen, but because we were children, we didn't know to pay attention to it, right? As an adult, you remember more and you kind of can pinpoint things more because you are old enough to know what could be potentially significant. So you can kind of make you can kind of put like a sticky note on it in your mind and remember it, right? And bring it back for another day. But as a child, because you were, a child, and you really don't know what you need to remember, or you really don't know what is significant, you really don't know specifically what the trauma may be or what it is, it's easier for us to kind of forget some of those things and forget a lot of those details. I was literally just talking to one of my clients today about this. We go through so many things on a day-to-day basis anyway, right? Good, bad, neutral, doesn't matter, right? You don't remember every detail from yesterday. You don't even remember every detail from yesterday. So there's no way in hell that you're going to remember every detail from your childhood. That's just ludicrous. That's just not going to happen. And it's not fair to you to try to do that, right? Because it's not possible. It's just not going to happen. So what I tell my clients is, whatever comes up, let it come out. What does that mean? When I'm ready to deal with something, and if it's something that is important enough for me to deal with, my higher self, my consciousness will bring it to the surface. When it comes to the surface, I'll deal with it. When it comes to my head, I'll deal with it. When I think about it, I'll deal with it. If it isn't something that is coming to the surface, thank you so much, honey bun. If it isn't something that's coming to the surface, if it isn't something that's making itself known, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to push the envelope, right? Also, shadow work and healing is a journey, not a race, which means it's going to happen over a period of time, right? The idea that you need to kind of understand is that there will always be something for you to heal or for you to work on until you take your last breath. It just is what it is, right? Whether it's something from the past, whether it's something from the present, or whether it's you trying to prepare yourself for the future. There's always going to be something that you want to fix or that you want to make better about yourself or your life, right? And shadow work is nothing more than self-development. If you can remember that, it will take so much pressure off of you. It's self-development, right? Self-development covers so many different areas, and it's not just childhood healing. It's not just traumas, right? It's not just triggers, right? Self-development could just be the way that I talk to myself, the conversations that I have with myself. Self-development can be the way that I treat others. Self-development can be the way that I attack my passions and I go after the things that I want to do in life. I go after my goals. Self-development can be getting more disciplined. Self-development can be going to the gym. Self-development can be eating better, eating different, right? Taking care of my health, right? If you take the box off of shadow work being just healing, you'll open yourself up to what it actually is, which is you just becoming a better person, right? And sometimes when we shift the meaning in our head, it'll shift the way that we see it, and it'll shift the way that we feel about it, right? Which will help us change the actions that we take, right? Mentality creates feelings, feelings create action. So if I change my mental, I change my feeling, which means I change my action, right? So if I'm thinking about shadow work in a way that is more of an umbrella term rather than something specific, then I will take a lot of that pressure off of myself to get certain things done in a certain type of way, or to try to make shadow work or the journey of shadow work look specifically the way that it may look to other people, or look based on the idea I have in my head. Okay? Again, shadow work is more so self-development, helping you become a better version of yourself. However that plays out, whatever that entails, go with that, right? Some days, shadow work may be centered around childhood trauma healing. If that's a day for that, deal with that day, right? The next day, shadow work may be get your ass up and do 30 minutes worth of a workout because you keep complaining about your big ass back. If that's what it is for that day, get up and get it done, okay? Shadow work could be the next day. Hey, you need to change your eating habits because you may have a lot of mucus in your body and it's making you sick, or it's causing you to have sinus issues or whatever. So go to the grocery store and buy some astringent fruits, okay? Your pineapples, your apples, your grapes, your berries, things of that nature, right? To help you clear that up. Get you some vegetables, okay? Your tomatoes, your spinach, your onions, okay? Mushrooms, all of those things are beautiful for the body. Shit like that, right? That could be that day. The next day could be you need some self-care. Go get you a new outfit. Go get your hair done. Go get your nails done. Go get your feet done, right? Because shadow work is also self-care, right? Go take care of yourself. Go do something nice for yourself. Go book that trip that you've been wanting to book. Go, stay at that hotel for a night and do a little mini staycation or something, right? So shadow work can look differently every single day. And a lot of times, because we want to be better so bad, we can kind of get into this place where we start to force shit on ourselves and we start to be super aggressive and set these crazy expectations and hold ourselves to these crazy, levels. And then when we don't hit those things, when we don't see the results that we think that we should see, we automatically assume that we either done something wrong, or we're wrong, or something is defective about us, or whatever the case is. And that's just not the reality. Okay? I want to open up the comment section for some questions. If anybody has some questions, feel free to write them in the comment section. This could be about anything. We've been talking about spirituality, so it can definitely be about that. But also, if you want my opinion on anything else that's going on, we can do that too. I want to get back to doing some Q&As because I know that those were helpful when I was doing them, and I haven't done those in a while. So feel free to ask some of your questions in the comments, and we'll kind of go with that. All right, how do I move forward with my craft? If you don't mind, can you give me a little bit of details on what your craft is? So I can be a little bit more specific. How do you find out who your spirit guides are? And how do you deal with spirituality if you didn't? So spirit guides, or ancestors are such a vital part of our journey, right? Ancestors are spirits who are blood related to us at some point in life. It doesn't necessarily have to mean this particular lifetime, right? So they could have been your ancestor, prior to you being born. But the key to ancestry is always blood related. So keep that in mind. Spirit guides are more broad, right? They don't have to be blood related. They can be. So an ancestor can be a spirit guide, but a spirit guide, an ancestor is only blood related, right? So with your spirit team, right, which just means a collective of spirits that work with you to help you get to whatever your goal is or complete whatever your mission is in life, they are always active from the day we're born, right? They're always active. We just don't have the awareness yet until you become aware, right? You don't know what you know until you know it, right? So the best way to start tapping in, I always say start with ancestors. If you know any ancestors personally, so let's say your grandma passed, your grandpa passed, your auntie passed, uncle, whatever, start trying to tap in with them first through basic communication. Pick one ancestor to start with first. A lot of people, we want to talk to 17 people. It's like you're going to stress yourself out, okay? When you deal with one at a time, you get a better feel of their energy, and then you can kind of place it better when they start to communicate back with you, because you become more familiar with that person's energy. It's just like having a personality. Like, you know certain people based on their personality. You know certain people based on their energy here in the physical realm. So it's nothing different than in the spiritual realm. The only difference is the physical part of it is no longer there, right? So basic conversation is always good. I started out with gratitude when I first started tapping with my ancestors. I started with my grandfather, and I just started with basic gratitude. Like, in the rising time, I would say, you know, Grand Rising, Grandpa, thank you so much for protection as I slept. Thank you for keeping my family safe, and, you know, protection over my family and blah, 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 keeping me safe in my home. You know, thank you in advance for protecting me throughout the day from dangerous seen and unseen, places known and unknown, people known and unknown, yada, yada, yada. And then at the end of the day, I would kind of recap the same thing. And I did that maybe for, I want to say, like a month or two before I started to get more into, I'm going to say be more direct in my communication. Because I always kind of talked to my grandfather even before I had an understanding of ancestors. But I started to get more intentional. So throughout the day, I would be more intentional with talking to him, right? Throughout the day. Like, Grandpa, these people piss me the fuck off. You know what I'm saying? I'm not pissed. I'm mad. This shit is getting on my goddamn nerves. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And I would just do that, you know. And then the more consistent I got, you know, the more I can tell when he was communicating in return. Now, if you don't know any specific ancestors, then you want to say, you know, those who have my highest good at heart. When you're dealing with ancestors, you always want to be intentional when it comes to those who want the best for you and those who are positive influences on your life. The same way every family member don't like you is the same way every ancestor don't like you. Same thing. The only thing that changed is the realm. Okay? Thank y'all for the gifts. The only thing that changed is the realm that you're in. That's it. But souls are souls, energy is energy, spirits are spirits, right? So they can be nasty spirits, they can be nice spirits, they can be good ones, they can be bad ones. It just depends, right? So you always want to deal with those who you know had good intentions for you. And if you don't know them specifically, like let's say all your grandparents are still alive and you don't know your great grandparents or you never met them, or all your family for the most part is still alive, then you would say, again, those who have my highest good at heart, those who want the best for me, those who are positive influences on my life, those who were given to me to help me achieve my goals. You always want to start with specifics, and then eventually they'll start to reveal themselves to you. Like, for example, I started with the ones that I knew. Like, I had a relationship with my grandfather. So, you know, I knew him very well. So he was the first one that I started with. But then eventually, like, I've talked about this before, but I had a situation where I felt a new energy around me. I've always been very sensitive to energy. And from a kid, I can hear spirits. I can see spirits in certain situations, in certain spaces. It's not like everywhere I go I can see, you know what I'm saying? It's not like the movie Ghost where I'm just, you know, It's not, some people are like that, but that's just not my gift, right? Mine's is like time and a place type of thing. When I need to, I do type of thing. But I can sense that there was another energy around me that I wasn't familiar with, because again, the more you tap in with your ancestors, you can tell when there's new entities or new spirits or new energies that enter your space, right? And because I have been tapping in with my ancestors, and I had an altar, especially when you put up an altar, you are opening a portal. An altar is a portal, right? And there's a specific way to set up your altar so that you can make sure only those spirits that you have invited in can be there. So that way, if there is somebody new, you can tell the difference. And I'll get into that on a later day or later on in the live. But I remember feeling this new energy, and I went to sleep, and the next day when I woke up, you know how like you're in them in-between stages? I have a lot of visions when I'm in that in-between stage of, just being asleep and then kind of waking up and kind of being like halfway, still sleep for real. One foot in this room, one foot in the other room type of thing. And I had a vision clear as day of this beautiful woman who I could tell this was in, indigenous American times, okay? Because I don't like saying Native Americans. And we'll go down that rabbit hole another day. But indigenous Americans, aka black people, aka niggas, you could tell it was during that time. And it was a barn, and she was like sitting in the doorway of a barn in a rocking chair. And she had those two beautiful gray braids, like two cornrows, very long, beautiful braids. And they were gray. They were like super, super silvery gray. So I could tell she was older. And she had on, like, if y'all ever seen like those older movies, or those movies that are based in slavery times or whatever, not that it had anything to do with slavery, but y'all know like the outfits that the women used to wear, and they would have like the apron, but then they would have on like those older type dresses or whatever, those house dresses, or she had on that type of outfit, and she was rocking in that chair, and she said Rose, and I was like, Rose. And I woke up, I got all the way up at that point, I'm like, Rose. In my head, I'm thinking like, do my ancestors want some roses? You know what I'm saying? Do they want some roses on their altar? I had like rose pieces of roses that I would use for like teas or rolling up. So I'm like, well, maybe they want me to sprinkle some roses on the altar, or maybe they want me to buy some roses. So I literally went and got roses from the store and put that on my altar. And I felt like that wasn't right. I'm like, this is nice, but I don't feel like that's what it is. So when I would start talking to my ancestors, I used to, thank them individually a lot in the beginning of my journey. And they're funny. They say you need to get back to that. Okay. I used to thank my ancestors a lot individually in the beginning of my journey. And when I went through my normal little call out of all of the ones, I was like, Rose. I added Rose onto there. I'm just thinking like that's what I'm gonna nickname this ancestor, because I don't know who they are. I know that energy means me well, because I could feel it. The vision was very clear. You could tell when you start working with energy, you can tell, right? So I'm like, it's nothing I have to worry about. So I just labeled that ancestor Rose, right? And didn't really think about it. A year passes. Okay, and this is why I say you have to be consistent, and you have to take your time, and you have to be patient, right? Because a whole year goes by, and I'm on Ancestry.com because I had literally just, maybe a day before, I had just found my father's father. So my father's dad left when he was like 2. And he was in the Vietnam War, right, the second war, and he was very traumatized, so he left the house and he was on drugs and shit like that. So my father grew up without his dad, and I had just literally located this man, right? And I was like, well, let me do some other research and whatever. And I'm on there just researching and just going back through family trees. And I love Ancestry.com because they have a lot of access to documents. And then you also can use other people's tree to kind of figure out who your people are as well. I don't send blood work into none of these places because that's not what you need to do. The best way to track your family members is through names. It's the best way. Through names, through relationships, things of that nature. Don't start sending these people your blood and let them tell you that your family is from Zimbabwe. Okay? No. What those DNA tests mean is that your blood has similar markings as the blood of those people. That's all that means. It does not mean that you're from there. It don't mean that your people came from that particular spot of the world, because a lot of those people didn't even come from that particular spot of the world. Okay? And that's a whole nother life for a whole nother day. But I'm on there and I'm looking, and I get to my mother's grandmother, which would be my great grandmother, right? And guess what her name is? Rosie. Y'all, when I say my heart and my stomach could have felt through my ass, okay? And I've always been very spiritual, very tapped in. I've had a lot of dreams that came to pass. I mean, dating back to me being a kid. Like, I've always had weird spiritual happenings. But it never gets old when shit like that happens, right? The chills that go over your body and the confirmation that happens and the validation that happens in that moment is just, like, incredible. And her name was Rosie. And I can hear her say, "You found me." Like, that's me. You found me. Good job. You finally did what you needed to do. You made the connection. Okay? Because I thought I was crazy as hell, you know, continuously calling this lady Rose. But that was her name. That was her name the whole time. And I brought it to my grandmother. My grandmother, mind you, never spoke on her grandmother, Rosie. Never spoke on her. Never told us stories about her. Never brought her up in conversation. Nothing, right? So I was on the phone with her and my mom. We was on like a 3-way FaceTime call. And I'm like, Grandma, you know, and at this point, if you know, my grandmother's a pastor. Matter of fact, she's an apostle. Okay, so that was a lot. Okay, with me making my switch from religion to spirituality, that was already a lot. But at this point, we was on good terms, right? And I'm like, you know, Grandma, you know, I communicate with ancestors and stuff like that. And I was like, great grandma Rosie reached out to me, and my grandmother was shook. She was like, what? How do you know about her? Where did you, like, shook? Okay, and that was the confirmation that I needed just to solidify things. Even though I seen what I seen on Ancestry, that was just that extra layer of, like, I'm in the right place. Okay, I'm in the right place. We cooking with grease here. So, saying all that to say, consistency is key, because those ancestors, when it's time, they will do the revealing. They'll make themselves known. They'll come out of the woodworks and show you exactly who they are and lead you to them, so to speak, right? So communication is key. Consistency is key. And then being patient is so important, because it will allow you to, you know, finally find what you need when you're supposed to have it. And a lot of times, coming into spirituality really shows you that spirituality is a crock pot. It's a crock pot. You know, it's not a microwave. It's a crock pot. And you got to understand that. Because if you don't, you're going to come into it with these expectations that things are going to happen overnight, and that, you know, you're going to find all these answers immediately and all of this shit. And that's just not how it's going to go. Sometimes you get answers immediately and sometimes you don't. And you just have to be okay with sticking it out, and you got to be consistent. Because if you're not being consistent, ultimately it will be on you, you know what I'm saying, that you don't get the answers that you need. So Consistency is key. Not rushing the process is key. Not, setting these crazy expectations of like, yeah, within 3 months I'm gonna know every single one of my ancestors. That's insane, because you're not. You're not. I can tell you right now, you're not. You won't. Even the ancestors that you know, building a relationship with them through ancestry, through ancestor veneration, is completely different than building a relationship with somebody who is physically here. So my grandfather and me had an amazing relationship. Like, I got him tatted on my arm. Like, we were super close before he passed away. But learning him from this side of things and him being on that side, it's like building a whole different relationship, a whole different connection, right? So it takes time regardless. It takes time to cultivate. It takes time for you to get comfortable, for them to get comfortable, for you to figure out the communication styles, because some ancestors communicate through dreams. Some of them communicate through vision. Some of them communicate through intuition, your intuition. Some of them communicate through other people. Some of them may directly communicate to you. If you can hear spirits, see spirits, they may directly communicate to you like that. Some of them use numbers. Some of them use animals. I mean, you just never know. Some of them use all of that, and you just got to figure it out, right? So ancestry is one of those things where you really have to be patient with the process. You'll also have some spirit guides that will be a part of your journey as well. And it's kind of the same process of, figuring out who they are. Or if you already, let's say, for example, you had, the black community, we got aunties and uncles. They not blood related, but they are aunties and they are uncles. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. That's auntie and that's aunt. You know what I'm saying? We don't need no blood. We got cousins. We got whole family members that ain't never, ever been a part of our blood family ever in life. Okay? Our paths have never crossed ever when it comes to blood. But those is our family members. So if you have, let's say you had an auntie that you was super close with that was one of those aunties, she wouldn't be your ancestor, but she could be your spirit guide. You understand? She could never be your ancestor because y'all were never blood related, but she can most definitely be a part of your spirit team when it comes to guiding you. So it's just, kind of filling out the process, getting the idea of who it is that you want to connect with. I always say start with ancestors, because a lot of us are here to do things for our bloodline, and only your ancestors will know what needs to be done for your specific bloodline. So I would start with them first. But then the more comfortable you get with that, then you can branch out to spirit guides and shit of that nature. Now, what I will say before I get back to my girl's question about tapping in with your craft, what I will say is, I know a lot of people, when you come into spirituality, you get, and she just commented exactly what I was about to get into. A lot of people get into deities, okay? And I want to go over deities real fast, because you have to be extremely careful with deities. Extremely. Because deities are not blood related to a lot of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Some people do have blood relation to certain deities, and most people don't. Right? It's not as common as it is working with your ancestors, right? Or even working with a member of your spirit team. Trickster spirits are real. All right. What is a trickster spirit? A trickster spirit is a spirit that can show up and kind of convince you that they are something that you think they are, when in reality they're not. Right. There are a lot of spirits who have a goal and a mission to infiltrate your energy and use you almost as like possession in a way, to get what they want, or to just create difficulties for you, for your life. You have to be very careful when it comes to working with spirits that you don't have connections to. A lot of people tapped into deities, and they learn very quickly why you shouldn't be doing that if you don't have real knowledge of what you're doing. And I don't mean you watched a YouTube video. I don't mean that you paid somebody for a deity reading or whatever, because they got all types of names for shit to just take your money nowadays. you need to go with, if you haven't consulted a priest of that specific practice, then you don't need to tap in with them spirits. I don't give a fuck how connected you feel to Oshun or Ogun or Yemiya or Shango or whoever. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Okay, I've had people come to me like, yeah, Papa Legba was in my dream and I just feel like I need to be connecting with him and whoop de whoop de whoop, wop de wop de wop. And I'm like, I don't think that you should do that. You know what I'm saying? Just because you dream of something don't necessarily mean that you need to connect with it. You know what I'm saying? Our minds can sometimes formulate things based on what we're thinking about before we go to sleep. So if I'm thinking about a piece of chicken can show up in my dream. It don't mean that I need to go eat that piece of chicken. You know what I'm saying? So that same person went and tried to channel this deity and invoke that deity's energy, and they ended up having some of the most severe sleep paralysis that they've ever encountered and was scared shitless. Okay? I can't tell y'all how many times I've tried to give people advice on this specific topic and they don't want to listen to me because they feel like they're so in tune, they're so connected to these damn deities that they go and they do shit anyway. They put them on their altar. They start to try to tap in with these spirits and evoke these spirits, and then life starts going absolutely haywire. Shit starts fucking up for them. They start getting into these life or death type of situations. You know, things with their finances start getting fucked up. Just so many things start going wrong because they thought that it was for them to channel these spirits, and it's not. Okay? So, if you feel or you think that you are connected to deities specifically, if you have not yet first started working with your ancestors, the answer is no. Because your ancestors serve as a layer of protection. Okay? We don't just have them for no reason. And they are blood related to you, so they have your best interests. They're not going to connect you with anything that is not for you to connect with. They're not going to guide you to connect with any spirit that is not for you to connect with, right? I always say, think of your ancestors as the police. If something goes wrong in my life and I have an emergency and I need help, I'm not calling the FBI. I'm not calling the CIA. I'm calling the police. Because they're going to get there fast, and they're trained to get there quickly and to help me with whatever the fuck's going on. They got guns. They got task force. They got all types of shit to help me and assist me. And you need to be thinking of your ancestors as the police, right? Deities is more CIA, private government organizations, FBI. That's how you need to think of them, right? It's not always for you to go access those spirits. And sometimes, a lot of y'all, what y'all don't know is some of y'all ancestors could be deities in the spiritual realm. You just don't have that awareness yet because you ain't tapped in with them long enough to know how powerful they are. And a lot of y'all think that these deities are way more powerful than your ancestors, so you want to tap in with them because you feel like whatever you want, whatever you're looking for, you're going to get it faster if you... Sorry, y'all, my bra is cutting me. You think that you're going to get it faster than you would if you work with your ancestors, and that's just not the case. Your ancestors are literally sent to help you get to where you're trying to get to at the pace that you're supposed to get there. So to skip them, number one, is disrespectful as fuck. When we're looking at things from a spiritual standpoint, that shit is hella disrespectful. Hella disrespectful. It's like if you a parent and your job is to make sure that your child gets to what they're supposed to get to in life and everything, and instead of them coming to you with some of the things that they need, they go to their teacher. Or they go to somebody else and call them mama or call them daddy. You're like, first of all, ho, I carried you for 9 months. Okay? I pushed you out of my cootie cat. Or I got cut and they pulled you out of my stomach. You know what I'm saying? You're going to feel disrespected. Because, like, how dare you skip over me to go to somebody else that probably they don't know you like that for real anyway, and they may not have your best intentions at heart, right? So don't be so quick to jump on the deity bandwagon. Again, some people are connected to deities. For example, I started with my ancestors, and then I was contacted by a priest, a babalawo, specifically for the Yoruba tradition. And I went through, a series of readings and rituals and shit to connect with who I was supposed to be connected with. But that's not everybody's story. And even then, with my connections to certain deities, I still don't tap in with them like that, because I don't feel the need to. My ancestors are just fine. They do exactly what I need them to do. They help me as much as I need them to help. They're there 100% of the time. And then the thing with deities too, those spirits have requirements, which a lot of people don't know. You can't just go to Oshun and be like, yeah, I put you on my altar and I gave you a piece of chicken, so I need you to help me get pregnant, or I need you to bring me the love of my life or something. Like, girl, what? No. You have to do whole ass motherfucking, give them whole, what's the word that I'm looking for? Offerings. Thank you, Spirit. You gotta give them whole offerings, and they, based on the deity, they require different things. Like, there's some deities where you gotta cut the head off a chicken, and you gotta offer blood. You know what I'm saying? Or birds. There's certain birds that you gotta use. Right? I know specifically for Shango, when I tapped in for, no, was it Shango or Ogun? It was one of them. I had to do a ritual, and my Babalawo ended up doing it on my behalf. But he had to cut the head off a whole whatchamacallit and spread the goddamn blood all over the shit and set this up and do this and do it. Like, there's whole rituals that go with this shit, right? You cannot just think you can give these people a piece of fried chicken and some greens and a little scoop of macaroni and cheese and think that shit is going to be what you need it to be. You know what I'm saying? There are specific things. I'm not going to get into all of it, Tawanda, but there are specific things that are required for each deity. There's specific offerings that they take, and some of them you have to give more than one offering. You can't just give one. You got to show up on a certain day and do a certain thing, and you got to do that shit for like 3 weeks just for them to look at you, just for them to consider. You know what I'm saying? So don't get wrapped up in that, because your ancestors, they'll take a shot of liquor. You understand? They'll take a simple thank you, I appreciate you so much, and they'll go ride or die. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't require all of that, because they don't need all of that to help you. They're not sent here to do all of that. They'll take a cigarette on the altar and be cool and get you a bag. You know what I'm saying? It's so much easier to work with your people than it is to tap into these unknown spirits and have all this unknown shit going on. And a lot of people lose their lives trying to tap into some of these spirits and trying to do things that they don't have the covering or the power or the spiritual currency to do. I don't know if y'all heard about the story. I think this was sometime at the end of last year. I want to say like October-ish, maybe September, October, where there was a black lady who went to Haiti, and she was trying to go through the process of becoming a priest or whatever, and baby, she didn't make it home. She didn't make it home. When you open up your vessel, some of them spirits will snatch you right the fuck on up. They don't give a damn. And some of these spiritualists in other countries, they'll take your money. They'll take your money and be like, well, shit, it was a part of the plan for you to get snatched up. That's what was going to happen. Oh, well, I got paid. I got my coin. You know what I'm saying? I warned you. They give you a little warning. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this could go either way. This could be this could be that, whatever. Whatever. That don't guarantee anything. And there's plenty of people who have fallen into comas because literally their soul got snatched out their bodies. And this shit probably sounds like some sci-fi shit, but this shit is real. That's why I tell you, don't play with the spiritual realm. Don't play with the big guns, okay? If you want to play around, take your ass back to church. Because you can play in there all day and nothing going to happen to you. The pastors play in there all goddamn day. And they drive Benzes and have Rolexes and they live in mansions. They're cool, okay? They can play all fucking day long and nothing's going to happen to them because they're not tapping into nothing for real. If we be honest, they just working with basic energy. Just basic energy that they working with. But when you get into these practices that have been going on for thousands of years, that have contracts in the spiritual realm, you know what I'm saying? When you get into that shit, you don't get to determine how it goes because there's shit that's already been set in place. You can't come into it and think that you're going to do what you want to do. No, that's not how that works. Not these things that have been set up literally for, and when I say thousands of years, I mean tens of thousands of years before you and this version of you was even thought about. Okay? You can't come in trying to change the rules. There are spiritual contracts. We're all here under a spiritual contract anyway. But those practices, there are spiritual contracts that those practices are based on. There are spirits on the other side that have agreed to help souls on this side based on contractual agreements in the spiritual realm. That's why you can't just go to these deities and offer them anything. That's why you can't just get their attention. That's why they're not just going to be all willy-nilly with doing something for you. The shit is set up. And you have to abide by the flow of whatever that is in order for you to get out of it whatever you're trying to get out of it. And you have to have some type of connection in the spiritual realm to those entities for them to even fuck with you. Them deities is not going to fuck with you if they're not connected to you in the spiritual realm. That's why specifically in Yoruba, they say you have a deity that covers your head. You have a deity that covers you for this. You have a deity that's connected to you for this. This is your mother. This is your yeye. This is your whatever, right? There's all different, there's different connections and different relationships that we have with those spirits. It could be because of some of our ancestors were already into it. And this is why ancestry is so important. Because some of our ancestors were already into some of this stuff. That's why I be telling y'all, because I know a lot of people be like, and I'm going to get off of ancestors in a minute, but when spirit is flowing, I got to get y'all the information because obviously you need to hear it. But that's why I be telling y'all, because some people be like, oh, well, my grandmama, I want to connect with her, but she was a Christian. Baby, that shit don't fucking matter. That shit don't goddamn matter. Okay? When that lady go back to being in the spiritual realm, she not no damn Christian. Y'all gotta understand that. That's some here type of shit. That's some here shit. That's some being on earth shit. Religion don't exist past earth. When they go back to being souls and spirits and energies, they don't give a fuck about none of that, going to church, none of that. That's not even the type of time that they on. Because they go back to being who they naturally were. Energy. That shit don't matter. Okay? So I don't care if your grandmother was a devout Christian. It don't fucking matter. When she get back to that spiritual realm, if she's supposed to be an ancestor, that's what she gonna be. It doesn't matter. Okay? If your ancestor was Muslim, when they get back to that spiritual realm, they gonna be an ancestor. That other shit don't matter. It does not matter. You gotta also remember, a lot of us have lived multiple lifetimes, and you go with the flow of whatever the world consensus is when you're here. So there's a reason why a lot of our ancestors were religious, because we was in the age of Pisces. So a lot of them from the age that existed in the age of Pisces were going to be religious because that was the mentality at that time. A lot of them were forced to be religious because that was the mentality at the time. We had slavery. We had, just religion, period. There was a lot of people unaliving people based on religion. Like, there was a lot of traumatic shit happening with religion being the forefront of it. So a lot of those people only tapped into what they either was forced to tap into, or they only knew what they knew based on the information that they was given, based on their access to knowledge in this realm and in the spiritual realm. Right? But this is why we have things like hoodoo. Right? A lot of our ancestors practice hoodoo. They may not have known consciously what they were doing, but subconsciously, internally, as far as their higher self, they knew exactly what they was happening to. The higher self knows. Even when you consciously don't know here, the physical part of you may not have that conscious understanding, that higher self knows exactly what the fuck going on. Right? So that's why your grandmama told you not to open that umbrella up in the house. That's why they told you put your purse on the floor, it's going to make you poor. That's why they said don't put that hat on that bed. That's why they would hang up them cinnamon brooms. You follow me? All that is spiritual. All that's spiritual. That's why they say throw salt behind your back when you feel like, you got people on you or people trying to attack you, whatever. That's why they sprinkled salt and cayenne pepper and shit at their doorways. All of that's hoodoo. It's nothing more than a fancy word for spiritual practices for niggas. That's all that shit was. Don't sweep over your feet or you gotta spit on the broom. You know what I'm saying? Put the scissors under your bed if you having bad dreams or nightmares. We could go on and on. Those superstitions, those were nothing more than spiritual practices. You know what I'm saying? When they would go in that kitchen, you say, oh, grandma's sick. I don't feel good. They go in there and they start throwing herbs in that goddamn pot with some water. Yeah. Hoodoo. Herbs. Hoodoo is nothing more than herbalism and spirituality combined. That's all hoodoo is. And we understood that as black people. Hello, that red brick dust. Yes, ma'am. Black eyed peas. All of that. Washing your clothes before the new year. All of those things were spiritual practices. But because they were raised in the church, because they were brought up a certain type of way, and they didn't have the access to information like we do to understand, like, oh, the church wasn't the best tool, or, Jesus didn't really exist in the way that we thought he did. Like, we are able to decipher those things because we have the information. We have the research. We can go further, right? But they didn't have all of that. So they had to work with what they had. But you see how spirituality was still very much so intertwined with that. Right? It's the reason why a lot of our ancestors had golds in their mouth. They wore a lot of gold jewelry. Right? Or silver. Right? Or they had gold teeth. Silver caps. You know what I'm saying? All type of shit. Like, all of that shit was on purpose. They had copper jewelry. They wore all them rings. Right? And we look at that as culture. It is culture. And it has become a part of our culture because of its spiritual influence. Right? Our aunties and grandmas used to have a ring on every goddamn finger. And it was real gold rings. Real silver rings. It was like real. It wasn't no play. The gold bangles and bracelets and shit. All of that it's basically like you wearing your crystals. Gold has properties as well. Silver has properties as well. We know copper has properties. So it's just like nowadays, you'll wear your crystals around your neck. Or you'll wear your spiritual bracelets. Or it's the same shit. Yes, gold hoops. Gold earrings. The pearls. I feel like everybody grandma has some real pearls, right? All of those things are spiritual. So don't get caught up in the lifestyle as far as religion that they may have lived here in this realm. You know what I'm saying? The only things I would say, or the only reason I would say don't tap in with certain ancestors is if they did like evil shit, like did something to children, or you know, was mean to you specifically or had it out for you specifically, or, you know, like really dark shit, then I wouldn't tap in with them. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do that. If your grandmama was the type that, you know, was real messy and always started shit, or, you know, I'm just certain things like that, you know, I wouldn't really tap in with those spirits, right? But if it's, you know, if they was cool and if y'all had a good relationship, then tap in with them. Okay? Even, I would say even tapping with them if they was real nice to you but mean to other people, tapping with them. That's even better, because we call them protectors in this spiritual realm. Like my granddaddy was an asshole with a capital A. Oh my God. Woo! That man was born in 32. He didn't like a lot of things. He didn't care for these people. Okay? And he didn't care for the bullshit. And he was an Aries. So it was up. You know what I'm saying? It was up and it was stuck. He didn't give not one fuck. But he my protector. When some shit going on, or just basic everyday, I already know who got my back. Especially when it comes to men, when it comes to relationships. And again, you'll learn the more you connect with your ancestors, who is better for what. You know what I'm saying? Who you should tap in for what. Just like how there's deities that you would tap in for certain shit, your ancestors have that same dynamic. And some of y'all ancestors are heavy hitters in the spiritual realm. Like, y'all gotta understand, some of y'all sitting on gold mines spiritually, and you do yourself a disservice when you just skate past them. Like, you don't know how much power these people hold. It's crazy. It's crazy. Don't let how their life may have looked in the physical realm, like maybe they didn't have a whole bunch of money, maybe they didn't live in the best house, maybe they didn't work the best job, maybe they didn't drive the best car, but in the spiritual realm, baby, you talking about spiritual currency. And I kept telling y'all last year that this year is going to be a big year for inheritance. And I don't want y'all to just think monetarily, you know what I'm saying? I don't want y'all to just think like, oh, grandma gonna pass away and leave me the house. I mean, that could happen. There's a lot of that happening as well. But spiritual inheritance this year is going to go crazy. Because what the next 9 years require, a lot of y'all need to have access to it now so you can get familiar with those gifts. So it's a lot of y'all that are being pushed to get into your gifts a lot more. And you're being pushed in ways that may be a little unconventional and may not make sense. So, for example, if you are supposed to tap into healing, right? You're supposed to be a healer. Now, healers come, and this is me getting kind of converting over into the crafts question that you had, baby girl. All of us have spiritual gifts, but all of our spiritual gifts show up in different ways, right? So every healer is not meant to quit their 9 to 5 and open shop. You know, sometimes your job is to heal where you are, right? So you have some healers that can be teachers. Their job is supposed to heal those kids and give them the information that they need and give them the knowledge that they need, right? Some healers are chefs. You're supposed to cook that food and put your energy, your healing energy into that food that you cook, right? Some healers are actual doctors, right? And you know how that goes. Some healers are poets, and your words are supposed to heal people from the inside out. Some healers do what I do, content creation, or readings, or consultations, mentoring, whatever, life coaching, right? Some healers are therapists. Some healers, you know, are gardeners, and you're supposed to heal with the herbs and the plants that you cultivate. Some healers are, it comes in so many different ways. Some healers are hairdressers, and you heal people from their crown chakra. You know what I'm saying? You help people heal with their sacral chakra and their solar plexus by feeling more comfortable and feeling beautiful and, you know, shit like that. Healers come in so many different ways, right? Some people are supposed to be root workers. right? So you may work a regular 9 to 5, but when you get home, your job for the family is to do spell work. Just simple as that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a reason why you be randomly in a house and you get the urge to mix certain herbs together and put them on your altar, or whatever. Some people are supposed to be dreamers, and your job is to communicate the dreams that you have to the people that's supposed to get the message, or for you to take messages from your dream and use it in your life so that you can get into whatever you're supposed to get into, or make whatever happen you're supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen, right? So spiritual gifts show up in so many different ways, and it's not for you to say, oh, I feel like I'm a spiritual person, so that means that I have to have a quote unquote spiritual job, right? Some of y'all will have multiple jobs because you're supposed to. There are certain people that you're supposed to connect with. There are certain people that you're supposed to heal, and they can be in different locations. Some of you guys will be required to travel and to move because maybe there's a city that requires your energy. Maybe there's a state that requires your energy. Or another country that requires your energy. Because remember, we are indigenous to every part of this world. We're indigenous everywhere. We was here before everybody, everywhere. Okay, not just Africa. We was in Asia. We was in Australia. We was in North America, South America, Africa, Europe, all of that. Okay, Antarctica. We was everywhere, babe. There's no place on this earth that melanated beings were not. So if you feel called to go to a different city or different country or different state, go. It doesn't mean you got to stay there forever, right? But go with your gut, right? So getting more into your craft, whatever your craft is, I want to speak more broad first. Whatever your craft is, to figure out what your craft is, number one, you need to spend a lot of time in meditation. Y'all don't meditate enough. And meditation don't look the same all the time, right? Sometimes meditation could be you literally sitting in quiet, eyes closed, frequency music on, or sitting outside. I love meditating in the sun. That's one of my favorite methods of meditation. That is just the best, especially in the springtime, summertime, before it gets super, super hot, and then you out there just fucking baking, okay? But in that springtime to mid-summer time, where we getting that good old 75, 69 degrees, woo, baby, I be outside immediately when the sun come up. I'm talking 8, 9 a.m. Oh my gosh, just, that shit is amazing. If you've never tried it, try that shit, okay? Try that shit, especially when we move into Aries season and we go through the spring equinox, which is between March 19th and the 21st. Get in that sunlight, okay? Even now, as much sun as you can get, definitely get it. I know it's snowing everywhere right now, which is crazy, but as much sun as you can, I appreciate that. As much sun as you can get into, try your best to get that sunlight. Even if you gotta open up your window and sit by the window inside with the heat on, do what you gotta do, okay? 8 minutes of direct sunlight a day will help you recalibrate your entire nervous system. Your nervous system governs the energy and the way that energy is able to move throughout your body, right? Our nervous system is basically a physical depiction of an energy conductor, okay? It sends electrical waves all through your body and helps you do everything that you need to do. Literally, you would be nothing without your nervous system, okay? So that's very important. Sunlight, especially for melanated beings, is our fucking everything. That sun is our everything. And you need to get as much of it as you possibly can, as much as you possibly can, okay? Especially when they try to make it cold as fuck and all of this snow and shit. They do that shit on purpose, because these are some of the most important times of the cycle and they want to make sure that they can kind of get in and get you distracted or make it super cold so you can't get as much as you need. So try to figure out ways where you can kind of balance that out. But as far as tapping with your gifts, like I said, meditation and purposeful meditation. So when you meditate, set an intention, right? My intention is by the end of this meditation, I will either consciously or subconsciously have the answers to blah, 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 blah. My intention for this meditation is that by the end of this meditation, I will be connected with more with this ancestor, or I will be able to, during this meditation, I'll be able to tap in with this spirit, or whatever, right? Meditating for at least 10 to 15 minutes a day is going to be very helpful. If you're just starting out, I would say 3 to 5 minutes, because you want to work up your ability to sit in that energy for long periods of time. A lot of times y'all fuck up because y'all try to jump into meditation doing that shit for like 30 minutes. Baby, you can't even focus for 30 minutes. You can't even focus for 2 minutes. Now, why is you out here trying to goddamn meditate for 30 minutes? Just out the gate, willy-nilly. And you got ADHD like me. Okay, you gotta baby step yourself. It's like going to the gym. When I go in the gym, and I know I haven't been in there in a while, or I haven't been in there at all, I'm not going to go try to start lifting with this 60-pound weight. That's crazy. I got to start slow. I may got to get the 15. And do the 15 for maybe a week and a half. And then move up to the 20. And then a week and a half, and then maybe to 30, then 35, then 40 to 45, then 50 to 55, and then eventually, maybe within maybe 6 to 7 months of consistency, maybe I'll then be at the 60 pounds, right? Same thing with meditation. Same thing with spirituality, period. Quality over quantity. It's not about how much you can do. It's about how you can do what you do the most effectively and the most efficiently. Okay? So don't force yourself to try to do things just because maybe you see other people talking about how long they do it or whatever. Okay? And then also, people be lying. There's a lot of people who just say shit because it sounds great. They're not really meditating for 30 minutes. They're not really doing that shit. So sometimes y'all be pushing yourself to do things because you hear somebody else said that they did it, and they're lying. They not even being 100. You know what I'm saying? I've been meditating for the last 6 years. And sometimes I don't even meditate that long. Sometimes I might struggle with a 15-minute meditation, depending on what's going on in my life and what's on my mind and how much is in my head. And I've been on it for a while. Thank you. Confirmation. Okay? Light bulb. Don't be out here pressing yourself to try to keep up with the quantity of things. As long as your quality is good, then you'll be fine. Okay? So, and then meditation shows up in different ways. One day, maybe you'll do an actual meditation where you're sitting down and you're tapping in. I suggest doing that at least 3 times out the week, where you're actually sitting and your eyes are closed and you're focusing in. And the goal of meditation is not to not have any thoughts, because you're never going to not have any thoughts. Even thinking about not thinking is a thought. You know what I'm saying? You're never going to just not have anything in your brain. That's crazy. The purpose of meditation is for focus. Focus is the goal. Focus is the goal. How many thoughts can I focus on at one time for an extended amount of time? That's the goal of meditation. Okay? Not can I clear my head and it just be empty up there. No, it's not going to be empty. All right? That's why I used to be sitting there meditating, then all of a sudden it's like, what you going to do with all that junk? All that junk inside your trunk? I'm going to get you like, damn. Okay, let me refocus. My humps, my lovey. Damn, fuck. Okay, let me refocus. Damn, how much was that food? Do I still got that receipt? Where's my passport? Did I put my passport out? Where's my social security card, matter of fact? I don't know where the fuck I put that thing. What time I gotta be at work tomorrow? How many hours of sleep am I gonna get tonight? I have no idea. Your mind is going on 50,000 million jillion things. Random as hell. So you're never going to get to a place where it's just like empty. You're just like, it's just space and air up there. It's not going to happen. So your job is to find something that you can focus on and see how long you can focus on that thing. So for example, examples of focused meditations could be putting on frequencies or sound music or whatever, and see if you can just focus on the frequency, right? And see how long you can do that. Focus on the music. Focus on what you hear, right? Another one could be an affirmation or a mantra, right? My favorite mantra is I am not the body, I am not even the mind. And I would be like, I'm not the body, I'm not even the mind, and I'll repeat that shit in my head over and 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 over until I'm only focused on that, right? Some people focus on their breath. How long can I pay attention to my breath? How long can I pay attention to the way that I'm breathing? In through my nose, out through my mouth. 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 You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just so many different ways. That's for the meditations where you are focusing in, right? But then there's other ways of meditation, like when you cook. When you cooking, you space the fuck out, right? You be in your own world. You be thinking about your goals and your dreams or some other shit. You know what I'm saying? You just be somewhere else, right? And you're moving around. You're actively doing things. But mentally, because you're kind of in like autopilot, like when you're cooking, you're kind of in autopilot. You don't really have to think. You know, put the butter in the pan, turn up the heat. It's like when you driving. Driving is another great thing because sometimes you be driving and you don't even be remembering that you're driving. You just like blink the fuck out, right? You be in a whole nother space thinking about some whole other shit, but your body's on autopilot. So you pressing the gas, you pressing the brake, you know what I'm saying? You doing all the shit that you do, and then you look up and you at home. You're like, damn, I don't even remember driving. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even, what the fuck? And then you kind of just snap back. You're like, oh shit, okay, right? Or listening to music, you know what I'm saying? Music is very therapeutic, especially for meditation. Jazz. Certain R&B, right? It depends. When I say certain R&B, it just really depends because some songs put you in the wrong mentality. You know what I'm saying? You playing fucking Jodeci. You can't meditate to Jodeci. Somehow I can't leave you, but love get me be. You are not thinking about meditation with fucking Jodeci playing. It's not happening. Okay? So, like, the best thing I would say, like, jazz is amazing for meditation. Instrumentals to things can be good. Not if it's a song that you really, really like because you're going to start singing the words in your head. You know what I'm saying? So, the instrumental, you know, varies. It depends, okay? Because if you like me, I know every lyric to every song that I love. So if you put on an instrumental, I'm singing the whole song, backgrounds, ad-libs, main part. I'm doing the bass. I'm playing the guitar in my head. Baby, there's a whole orchestra happening in my brain, right? So it you have to find what works for you. And it's really like it's like the perfect recipe. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's taste buds are different. So the way you cook your spaghetti may not be the way that I enjoy my spaghetti. But when I cook it for myself, I know exactly how to make it. You know what I'm saying? I may not put as much seasoning into my meat as you do. I may not boil my noodles as long as you do. I may bake my spaghetti while you just serve it regular. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different. So you have to figure out what recipe works for you based on what you're trying to get out of this process, number one. And that's why I say always go into meditation with some type of intention. Don't just be in it just, you know, all willy-nilly, especially if you have a hard time focusing. You want to have some type of intention. That way you can keep your mind as much as you can focused on whatever that thing is. Exercising. When I'm in the gym, I'm in autopilot. I know exactly what workouts I need to do. I have my headphones on. You know, I can kind of tune everything out and be like in my own bubble. And that could be a method of exercising. Cleaning is a good one. Okay, a lot of y'all clean and like cleaning. That's a great one. I mean, anything, running, jogging, walking during the summertime, during the springtime, even when it's the early fall and it's in them good old 70s and 60s, baby, I love to be outside walking. Or, you know, doing my power walk or my jogging. That shit is amazing. I have my headphones on. I can kind of lock in and everything kind of disappears and you kind of just zone the fuck in. There's so many different methods, you know, for you to be able to get yourself to that point. But like I said, I would do focused meditations the majority of the week. So like I said, these 2 to 3 times a week, I would do actual focused meditations where I'm still, eyes are closed, that type of thing. I have a mantra in my head, or I'm focusing on my breathing or whatever. Sometimes you can also, depending on what it looks like in your head, you can focus on the colors that you see, right? I know when I meditate, I see different colors, right? Some people see numbers, some people see sound waves, some people see frequencies. It just depends on who you are and your version of being tapped in. I know when I meditate, also, I have the ability to astral project. And I can tell when that opportunity is presenting itself when I'm in meditation, because it'll look, for me, the best way I can explain it is it's like a little hole starts to open. It looks like it's in the distance of my mind, but I can start seeing like a little hole open. And in that little hole, I can see things moving. I can see, depending on where I'm about to astral project to, I can see cars. I can see grass. I can see something, right? But it starts with this little hole. And I basically have the option to either expand that and jump into it and, you know, astral project, or I can not. But that, I've always been able to astral project or lucid dream since I was a kid. So it's a little bit different for me. I can do it very easily and very quickly. Within 5 minutes of meditation, I can do that shit if I wanted to. But sometimes I don't be feeling like it. Sometimes I don't be wanting to. So I don't. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I want to see what the fuck going on. Sometimes I might peek into it and just be like, let me see a little bit of what's happening over there. It just depends on where you take it and how consistent you are in building up the gift. Right? We all have the ability to astral project. It's nothing more than you leaving your body consciously. We leave our bodies anyway every single night when you go to sleep. But to astral project just means I'm conscious while I'm doing it. So it's not something that's happening just as a byproduct. It's something that I'm controlling, right? I have the ability to do it how I want and kind of, you know, manipulate it the way that I see fit. So back to gifts, or tapping into your passions, or tapping into your craft. Moderator, go ahead and take care of that, please. Thank you very much. Back to that portion of things. Meditation is very, 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 very beneficial, very helpful, because it's going to, thank you so much. It's going to help you focus in on what you need to. Meditation kind of starts to push what you need to be focused on to the surface, right? So sometimes your intention may be like, I want to tap in so that I can figure out what my passion is and figure out what my gift is. And you start meditating, and then childhood trauma pops up, and you probably be like, whoa, I didn't ask for this. I'm trying to figure out my gift, and they bringing up my mama, or they bringing up my daddy, or they bringing up something that happened. Well, that could be tied to the reason of why you can't get into contact with your passion. So if that's something that's blocking you from being able to connect with what it is you're supposed to be doing, it's going to show you that. It's going to put that on your plate. It's not just going to take you to the 10th floor of what you want when you still on the 2nd floor. You got to go to 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. There's steps. There's things that you're going to have to access and things that you're going to have to get out the way and things that you're going to have to do, confirmation, in order for you to access what you ultimately want, right? There's steps ahead of that. Thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate them so much. So it's important, you know, to go with the flow. When you're on this journey, it's all about flow. It's all about flow. It's all about being present in the moment. You can have your certain intentions, but those intentions may be only achieved through you doing other things that you may not want to do, or things that you didn't even think you had to do. Okay? Also, for anybody just coming in, we're just basically doing the Q&A right now about spirituality and different things. So feel free to write any questions that you have in the comments. We do have a live goal. This is just your way of showing appreciation. However, all gifts are accepted and all gifts are appreciated, but not required. It's just a way to show your appreciation for the live and to me as the creator. And then also like, share. All right. But yeah, you know, moving into that place, especially when you want to get more passion focused, because we're all here for a reason. We don't just reincarnate here for shits and giggles. Trust me, because it's not that fun. It's not that fun to just be here for shits and giggles anyway. We go through way too much. We have to deal with a lot. We got to heal a lot. No. Okay, we got to get something out of this. We got to be doing something here to make this shit happen. Thank you, Puddin'. So tapping in with that sometimes, of course, is linked to other things, because you're born with what you're supposed to be doing, right? When you come out your mama and you crying and you want some milk, you already have within your being what it is that you're supposed to be doing with your life, what it is that you're supposed to be connecting with, who you're supposed to become. Your gifts, you're born with your gifts, you're born with your talents. It's not anything that you get later on in life. You may discover it later on in life, but you had it forever, right? That's why it's a discovery and it's not a creation, right? Because you've already had it. It's already been there. And that's why we call it an awakening, because all these things you kind of already subconsciously knew, but you're just reawakening to the information, right? So all of this stuff has already been a part of your energy. And your job as you go through the healing process and shadow work and self-development is to kind of brush off and dig up the real you that has been buried under traumas and negative experiences and negative outlooks and perspectives and mentalities and, you know, all of that shit. Your job is to kind of get that shovel out and, you know, find the real you up under all of that bullshit, right? So the real you holds the answers that you need when it comes to what am I supposed to be doing? What am I here for? What is my job? What career am I supposed to be pursuing? What gifts do I have? How do I attack my gifts? How do I approach my gifts? Yada, 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 so on and so forth, right? Which is why I am the biggest advocate for shadow work. I specialize in shadow work because that is how you start to get to the nitty gritty of why you're here, right? And you need to know why you're here, because if not, you're just here. You know what I'm saying? You're just waking up and you're going to sleep for however many years you're supposed to be here. And that's not the point. That's the furthest from the point. You know what I'm saying? We are here for a reason. We're on mission. And you have to kind of think about it like that. We're on mission, and there's a certain mission that we have and certain things that we're supposed to be doing. Okay? Yeah, whatever questions you have, feel free to just put them in the comments. You don't have to ask. If you can ask it, just ask it. As long as it's not disrespectful. If it's disrespectful, if it's wild, if it's something that's stupid, you will be blocked. All right? Come correct. I do not do past life readings. That's not my gift. I do know a reader that does past life readings. I believe she's on Facebook. I believe. So if you're interested, inbox me. I can send you the link to her Facebook. But past life readings can be helpful. Past life regressions. You can always do past life regressions through meditation. There's a lot of guided meditations on like YouTube and shit like that that you can use for that purpose. Also, this is when we kind of get into dreams. Your dreams can show you a lot about who you used to be as well. It could be a lot. So that's why I be telling y'all, write y'all dreams down, because your dreams can kind of give you a inside scoop on either who you used to be, who you will become, what you need to do, how you need to move, who you need to avoid. I mean, dreams have so many, you know, messages as well. I had a dream that I crossed a bridge that was already falling, but I got to the destination. So what do you think that means? Dreams are one of those things that a lot of times, dreams can be tricky, right? Because we when we have a dream about certain things, we want to be able to get the answer right then and there. And sometimes it's not meant for you to do that. That's number one. Number two, only you intuitively and internally and subconsciously know what that dream means to you. So what I would suggest is, again, meditation is such a useful tool. Go into meditation about it. Set the intention. Hey, I'm meditating, you know, with my ancestors, my spirit team, those who have my highest interest at heart, those who help me solve problems and answer questions for me, help me with my life's journey, blah, 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 blah. I'm tapping in with you all to give me answers on what this means. And then you have to be patient, because the answer may not come immediately that day. The answer may be revealed to you later on that week. You know, you just don't know. So take your time, you know, write it down. I hope you wrote the dream down. Write the dream down. Put the date that you had the dream, right? And we put the date that way in the future, when the dream makes sense, you can go back and be like, oh, it took me 7 days and it took me this amount of time. Or if it's a dream that something happens and then it actually happens in real life, right? You can go back and be like, oh shit, I had that dream 2 weeks ago to the day, and then it actually happened in real life. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you wrote it down. Good. So the next step would be meditate on it. Meditate on that dream. Not every day for that specific dream, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. But I would say meditate on it maybe once a month if it's one specific dream, or maybe once every 2 weeks if it's something specific that you're really trying to figure out, that you feel like you really need to figure out. But don't overwhelm yourself, because when you're supposed to know, you'll know. As far as Akashic Records, yes, I've tapped into the Akashic Records. Akashic Records is nothing more than information. And we're all born with access to the Akashic Records. It's in our DNA. Your DNA is a physical depiction of the Akashic Records, right? It's passed down knowledge, passed down information, passed down, you know, things that you need to know, to help you with your life, to help you navigate, to help you with the future, things of that nature. So the Akashic Records, or the information from the Akashic Records, can show up in a lot of different ways. It can show up as intuition. Like, a lot of y'all be accessing it and you don't know you accessing it. But it'll be accessed through intuition. You know how sometimes you just know shit and you don't know how you know, you just know. And it's like, I never sat down to learn this thing, but I know what I'm talking about. That's Akashic information. Or you have a dream and that dream leads you to get a book, and you get a book and that book confirms whatever was in that dream or whatever. That's Akashic information. So it can happen in a lot of different ways. You can definitely get to a place where you can purposefully tap in with the Akashic Records. Again, that's going to happen through meditation. Yeah, I know I'm just a broken record at this point, but it's going to happen through meditation, okay? You're going to have to sit and you're going to have to tap in, okay? To get that information. Sometimes you'll astral project to a place that shows you something. It could be a vision, it could be a dream, it could be, like I said, you astral projecting and you've seen something with your own eyes. Like, I remember, and this kind of don't have nothing to do with the Akashic Records, but it's just about astral projection. But I remember this was probably 2022, I want to say. And I was sitting on my balcony at my old apartment, and my balcony was like one of my favorite places to go. The key to meditation is always having a comfortable environment and being in a place that makes you feel peace and safety and all those things. So one of my favorite places to meditate was on my balcony, and I had like a nice comfortable rocking chair and a little table, and I would, roll up and do whatever I'm gonna do, and then I'll sit in my rocking chair and close my eyes. Usually when the sun is directly hitting my balcony, that was my favorite time to do it. And I would meditate. And I remember one time I was meditating, and again that little hole started opening up, and I had an opportunity to astral project, and spirit took me to it was like a factory of some sort, and they were like working on like machinery. It was so fucking weird, but it was like, if you seen damn, what was the name of that movie with Jamie Foxx? Something Tyrone, Who Cloned Tyrone? If you seen that movie and you seen where they took him to, he had went through the church and went downstairs, I think, and saw like all the clone bodies and shit, and it was in like that factory or whatever. It kind of looked like that, but it wasn't clones. It was technology. It was like, I don't even know what type of technology it was, but I can't tell you if it was ships. I can't tell you if it was weapons. I don't know what the fuck it was. I just know it was metal, and it was like a industrial type of factory where there was big ass machines, and I got out of there quick. Okay, because the thing about astral projecting that they don't teach you, because a lot of people don't know about it, is the powers that be. They have people who monitor the spiritual realm. Okay, they have people who are gifted. I told y'all to go on the CIA website and look up Stargate. But they have people who are gifted to monitor the spiritual realm, and they know that a lot of us have gifts, and a lot of our gifts are being activated, and a lot of us are starting to be gifted, to do certain things. And they've known about astral projection for a very long time. I mean, for a very long time, from the creation of what we would call the United States. Like, they've been known about all this shit, and they've been using it. That's why I say go look up them Stargate files. Okay, you'll see how much they be using that shit for intelligence. They be using that shit for wars. Baby, they've been using that shit. Okay, but they have people who monitor the spiritual realm, and they have people who read energetic weapons. They can tell when people are accessing certain things. So some places that I astral project to, I be getting the fuck out of there, because I don't want nobody to see me. I don't want nobody to know I was there. Okay? Because they will gang stalk your ass. They will follow you. They will pull up on your ass. Okay? People be going missing all the time for tapping into shit that they shouldn't be. I don't know if y'all seen that dude, that black man who created a portal in his house with sound frequency. He made a video of that shit. He opened up a fucking portal on top of his bed with crystals and shit. We don't know where he is. He's never been seen or heard from again. And I think they took the video down. They may have. I don't know. You may be able to still find it. I have no idea. But that boy ain't been seen since. So, they understand the power of the spiritual realm, which is why they push religion so much. Because as long as you are focusing on some shit that don't matter, they can capitalize off of the shit that does matter. And they've been doing that for a very long time. So, I said all that to say, for the people who want to astral project, for the people who want to get more serious into it and more in tune with it, for the people who already do it, just be careful. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you find yourself in places like that. Now, if you astral project outside, you know what I'm saying, or you astral project in your own house and, you know, places like that, you at a grocery store, you on the street, on your street, in the neighborhood, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But if you find yourself in like a lab and you don't know where this lab is, get a quick little look around and get up out of there. Okay? Get a quick little peek, and then get up out of there. Okay? Get out of there. How do you protect yourself while astral projecting? Crystals and intentions with your ancestors. So before every meditation, I thank my ancestors in advance for protection, and I ask them to go with me to protect me. Those who are equipped to go with me, come with me. You know what I'm saying? Have my back, protect me. And then crystals. Amethyst is a beautiful crystal for anything dealing with the spiritual realm. It's one of the best. Amethyst, clear quartz, selenite, any black crystal, black obsidian, black tourmaline. Those are amazing protection crystals. Amethyst is the GOAT, okay? Especially with dreams, astral projecting, meditation. That is a goated crystal. Goated, okay? That is my go-to all the time. Selenite is amazing for just energy clearing. I have selenite everywhere in my house. Every time I move, I put selenite in every corner of my home. And when I say every corner, I mean every single corner. And you can buy selenite in bulk. It's very inexpensive because it is so much of it that, you know, they don't charge a lot like they do with other crystals. You can get really small pieces, you can get really big pieces. Just depends on what you need. And I get like a bulk of the small pieces, and when I say every corner, I'm not playing. It's not a game. If there's a corner, there's a piece of selenite there. And I'll either put a piece of selenite there and a piece of black tourmaline. That's usually what I do. I'll layer it. And then I also do what I call season my doors and windows. And that basically means I take a mixture of herbs, protection herbs, and I sprinkle them at my door sills, and I sprinkle them on my windows. Anywhere energy can come in, anywhere people go. Salt Bay. You know what I'm saying? Protection is very important. Very important, especially in the spiritual realm. Because you can't dictate what spirits do. And you gotta be able to have that covering, as my grandmama would say. You gotta be covered. So yeah, protection is very important. Those crystals I just named are the best. Other crystals have other properties that you can use for other shit. But those crystals I listed, and then certain herbs, like your protection herbs, salt is always the GOAT. Okay, salt is the GOAT. Another thing about selenite is the only crystal that does not need to be recharged. It stays charged. You can cleanse it, but it's always charged. So, you know, like other crystals, people will charge them in the moon or in the sun. All crystals can't go in the sun, but all crystals can go under moonlight. Or they use water. All crystals can't go in water. Or sage, or smudge them, or some people bury them. They make a little hole in their backyard and put their crystals in there and let the earth recharge them and cleanse them. You can always do that too. Sea salt is the best. However, you can use pink Himalayan salt. You can use regular salt if you need to. Celtic salt is also really, really good. Really powerful. Celtic salt is actually very powerful. Probably better than sea salt, honestly, if I had to choose. But if all you have is table salt, you can use that too. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna do the same thing. But yeah, salt, black pepper. Black pepper is very, very powerful. And make sure that y'all look up the properties. Everything has a property. And a property is basically a use, the way that you can use it, the things that it can do. All herbs have properties. All crystals have properties, right? So make sure you look it up. And once you look it up and you understand the properties, then you can kind of figure out, okay, this is what I need. So based on what I need, I'm going to use this. The more you know what you want that thing to do, the better it will work, because now your intention and that property can come together and do what it needs to do. And you basically can activate that property in that thing. A lot of people think you can just get crystals and because you have the crystal, it's activated. No. Activation means I know what property I need from this crystal, and I'm basically going to tell it to do that. Right? So when I'm with my amethyst, I sleep with amethyst every single night. I don't go to bed without amethyst, either under my pillow or in my hand. I don't play, okay? Because I know I do a lot of traveling at night, and I got to be protected, okay? So I'll set an intention. I'm so happy and grateful that with this amethyst, I'm able to be protected in the spiritual realm while I do blah, 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 blah. I'm so happy that with this selenite, you know, it is able to keep my home protected and keep out negative spirits, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? When you know what it does or what it can do, you can activate that specific thing. So like black pepper is good for keeping out negative spirits. So I'll say when I'm making my I'll take a bowl and I'll put my salt in, and I'll say I'm using the salt as a base for basic protection and blah, 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 whatever else I want to activate within that salt. Then I'll take my black pepper. I'm adding this pepper to do X, Y, and Z. My favorite is cayenne pepper. Okay, and I use cayenne pepper specifically a lot because I'm a spiritualist. I do a lot of spiritual work. I deal with a lot of energies and a lot of entities, a lot of spirits, all that. So cayenne pepper is the GOAT, okay? You can search the properties and use it, but that's a part of my mixture. Salt, cayenne pepper, black pepper, garlic powder, because garlic powder, there's a reason why they use garlic for vampires and shit in movies. They be trying to tell y'all a lot of shit, but they can't tell you the way that they want to tell you. So they gotta, like, you know, put that thing down, flip it, and reverse it a little bit. But cayenne pepper, garlic powder, black pepper, salt. What else would I put in there? That's really a good base, honestly. And then you can mix up different herbs for positive things. Like, it's not just protection. You can use it for, like, abundance. Like, salt is always a good base to use in any herbal mixture that you use. But let's say you want more abundance in your home. And when I say abundance, I don't just mean money. I just mean abundance. Good things. Good energy. Rosemary is good as well. So I'll do, like, salt, cinnamon. Maybe you can sprinkle sugar. It just depends, because you don't want to attract bugs or nothing with sugar. So, I don't know. But salt, cinnamon is good. I'll usually add a little sprinkle of cayenne pepper just to protect my abundance, if that makes sense. Bay leaves, thyme, clove is amazing. Once you know the properties of the herbs, you can literally be in there like hocus pocus. Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. That's all that. When you see people doing spells and shit in movies, they're mixing all those things based on the properties of those things. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I keep adjusting because I got cinnamon pieces in my bra. You know, it's spirit told me before I left the house. You know, break that cinnamon in half and put 2 pieces in them titties. That's what I did. Okay, listen first, ask questions later. Fuck it. Obviously, I need to do that, so let me do it. Okay? And I'm sitting here with cinnamon in the bottom of my titty. Now, I had to readjust it because it was poking me a little bit. But, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? You figure it out. Cinnamon stays in my wallet. I keep me a little piece of cinnamon in my wallet. Don't go nowhere without it. I don't play that. It's always in my wallet, always by my cards, by my money. I don't like a lot of cash, but I keep it in there because my cards are in there. So, and that goes back to hoodoo. Like with hoodoo, All of what I'm talking about is hoodoo practices. It's all under the umbrella of hoodoo. It's all under the umbrella of herbal, what they would call herbal magic, or spell work. It's all spell work. You know what I'm saying? All of it is spell work. If you can't get your hands on herbs, then word of mouth. The tongue is very powerful. So speak. You know, speak protection over yourself, over your home. Speak protection over your kids. Speak protection over whatever. You know what I'm saying? Your day, whatever. Start your day off with words of protection. Even if you do got crystals, even if you do got whatever, activate that shit. There's nothing more powerful in this realm than you. Don't ever think that the crystals are more powerful than you. Don't ever think that the spells are more powerful than you. They're not. The only thing that allows us to do is kind of focus the energy somewhere specific so that we can get a faster return. But when you learn to focus that energy without using those tools, whoo, now you're cooking with grease. You hear me? Do you do altars for the ancestors? Yes. I wouldn't recommend doing an altar for your ancestors until you've been consistent with communicating with them, talking to them, talking with them for a consistent amount of time. At least 6 months of consistency. At least. I usually say a year, but at least 6 months of you being consistent. Because once you start that altar, they're going to have expectations of you being consistent. Period. Once you open up that portal, you are inviting them more physically into your space. And they're going to get used to whatever the fuck you get them used to. So don't put up that altar unless you know for sure that you are locked in and you consistent and you ready to be consistent. There always has to be a candle burning on that altar. You can't have no altar without no candle burning 24/7. 24/7. The only time you can snuff that candle out, and we say snuff because we don't blow candles, all right? We don't blow candles in the spiritual realm, all right? If you know, you know. If you don't know, we don't blow candles out because when you use your breath to blow it out, you're undoing whatever that candle was doing. So we don't blow out candles, okay? We don't do that. That's why don't do that shit on your birthday. On your birthday, take you something and fan that hoe out or something. Don't do that. But the only time you should put your candle out on your altar is if you're not gonna be home, like you going on vacation or something. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can watch it, so the house don't burn down. You know, I have honestly, and this is just me, and I could be a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, I am, whatever. I've left my candles burning when I left the house for long periods of time. I don't suggest you do that. But I've definitely done it because I know that when it goes out, it's gonna put itself out, and then I also know my ancestors not gonna let my house burn down. But there have been times where I'll get the instruction like, no, put that shit out before you leave, and when you come back, you can light it again. Put that motherfucker out. You know what I'm saying? Use your intuition. Intuition is such a huge part of this journey. Like, sometimes you'll get instructions to do one thing, then another time you'll get instructions to do something completely different. You know, it just really depends on what's going on and what you need for that moment or what needs to be done for that moment. Other than that, yeah, I'll give y'all the basics of how to set up an altar. Again, I don't recommend setting up an altar. I look so crazy. I done let my damn pants out. That's how you know I don't be giving a fuck, because I put these jeans on today and I instantly regretted it. I don't like nothing being all up on my stomach like that. Okay, Poca got a pudge, and I just felt like I was just not able to breathe and I was constricted. And this is why I don't be wearing jeans a lot, because I can't move. Anyway, basic setup for an altar. Okay, screen record if you need to. Let me know when to go so y'all can have this information. Again, just because I give you the setup don't mean do that shit today if you know you haven't been consistent with your spirit team. Don't do that. Okay? Take the information, write it down, keep it, record it, something. All right? And then use it when you're ready. When you're actually really ready to fucking use it. Also, this will be posted to my YouTube, so you can always just watch it back from the beginning on YouTube at any point that you need to. But, all right. Y'all ready? Let me know if y'all ready. I don't want to do it. I'm going to put my YouTube in the comments so that y'all know where to go if you need to watch this back from the beginning. I'm hungry as hell. I didn't want to be fat and eat my sandwich and everything, but it's about to get real greedy in here. All right. Basic altar setup. Number 1, consistent communication with your spirit team for at least 6 months to a year before you set this shit up. Okay? You want to establish the relationship. And the consistency will allow you to get to be more familiar with those spirits so that you know when you set it up, when those spirits are there. And just in case another spirit comes into your space, you'll immediately know like something's fucking off. Or you'll be able to know that this is a new spirit that's coming. Because at different levels of our lives, we have new spirits that come in based on where we're going, right? It's like when you're playing a game and you unlock another level, the further you get into it, it's kind of like that too. So different ancestors may reveal themselves once you get to a different point in your life. So that's just something to keep in mind. Anywho, all right. Once you have gotten consistent and you know that you're ready for this altar, understand, number 1, an altar is a very, very huge responsibility. It's not to be taken lightly. That's number 1. Don't go into this shit thinking like, oh, I'm a half-ass it. I'm going to only, you know, be attentive to it every other day. Or if you don't have discipline, don't set no fucking altar up. You don't necessarily need an altar. It's good to have one. You don't need it, especially if you have not gotten to a place of spiritual discipline. If anything, you're just doing yourself a disservice, okay? And you're going to irritate the fuck out your ancestors because you're not consistent. All right, once you get all that out the way, you want to figure out a spot in your home where you can put your altar. This needs to be a spot that is away from the public. If you don't have people coming to your house at all, then it don't really matter. Just don't put it by no front door or nothing like that. But if you have people that come to your house sometimes, whether it's friends, family, loved ones, whatever, then you don't want to put it in a space where everybody can see it. So figure out somewhere that you can put it that it can be private, okay? It can go in your bedroom, but it don't need to be near your bed. So don't put it on your dresser by your bed. Don't do that, okay? Because y'all know what y'all do in y'all beds, and that shit is disrespectful as hell. Don't do that, okay? So don't put it by your bed. Give it some distance, okay? I wouldn't even recommend putting it in your room, but if that's what you have to do, do what you got to do. But I'm just saying, keep it at a distance from that goddamn bed, all right? Also, don't put it near a mirror. Keep it away from, like, mirrors. So a mirror can be in the room, but don't put no mirror directly behind it or in front of it or nothing like that, okay? Because mirrors are portals, and you don't need no spirits getting no ideas, okay? All right, so that's that. Find a good place for you to set it up at. If you can't find a good place, then maybe you just need to postpone it until you can, right? Maybe you'll be in a different situation soon, and then you can put it somewhere else, okay? All right, next step is get you something that you can sit it on, okay? So some people put it on a dresser or something like that, but it's better if you have something that you purchase just for your altar. So you can get like a little mini desk or like a, I don't know, there's so many different creative things that you could use for your altar space. And it also depends on what type of altar you want to have. Like if you have a lot of pictures you want to put up, maybe you need like a little desk with like the shells or something. or, you know what I'm saying? It just depends on, like, what you want your space to look like, how you want the aesthetic to be, okay? Feel free to, you know, make it what you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? It don't have to be like professional. Like, this is not a professional thing. This is a very personable thing. This is where you will go to connect with your spirit team. This is where your spirit team will connect with you. This is where you'll give your offering. So you want it to be something that feels inviting, feels high vibrational, feels like it goes with what your intentions for that space is, okay? So you pick something to put it on. First, before you put that thing there, whether it's a dresser, whether it's whatever, you want to sage that space, okay? You want to sage that space to just clear any energy that may be there that is just not beneficial. Okay, so sage the space. Y'all know anytime you sage, we open the windows and the doors so that the energy can go somewhere. Okay, sage that space. And anytime you sage, use intentions. You know, I'm so happy and grateful that this space is being cleansed so that I can set up my altar and be able to blah, 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 blah. Always talk, okay? Power of the tongue, so fucking important, all right? Sage that space. Then I would go back after the sage, after the smoke is cleared and all of that, I will go back with Palo Santo. Palo Santo is what we would call a sweetening wood. So it's going to invite positive vibes back into that space. It's going to invite, you know, good energy and all of the good. It's going to put the good back into there. Because when you sage, I would personally use dragon's blood sage if you can get your hands on dragon's blood sage, because that's more powerful and it will give you a really good cleanse. And then I would follow up with that Palo Santo. I love me some Palo Santo, okay? But yeah, then I would use Palo Santo. When you use Palo Santo, you don't have to open the windows and the doors. Actually, you shouldn't, because you want that energy to kind of linger and kind of seep into your space, okay? So the sage, anytime you sage or smudge for protection or to clear energy, windows and doors open. And when I say windows and doors, I mean bedroom door, windows to the bedroom. You know, periodically open the front door if you can. If you got a screen door, then open the front door, keep the screen door open. Closed, shit like that, okay? Palo Santo, close everything. Let that fester. And when you're doing your Palo Santo, I'm so happy and grateful that this Palo Santo is bringing in so much high vibrational energy and making the space peaceful. And, you know what I'm saying? Speak. Look up the properties of what these things do so that you can speak on them specifically, all right? Then you're going to place whatever thing you're going to use for your altar. If that's a desk, put the desk there. If that's a dresser, put the dresser there. Whatever it is you're going to use, put it there. And then you're going to get either, you can get some Florida water. Generic Florida water is cool, but by itself, it's not as powerful. If you're going to use it, you got to put the intentions into that motherfucker with your words, right? Because it's generic. That shit is made in a damn warehouse. You know what I'm saying? Them people not in there meditating over that shit. They're just mixing ingredients and putting it in bottles. You know what I'm saying? So you can either do that, or you can make your own Florida water or your own protection or cleansing substance, okay? You can look up the properties of different herbs and stuff and then put it in some water, or you can get some vodka or some type of, like, you know, white alcohol, vodka, tequila, whatever, and you can put the herbs in that and let that sit, and then you can use that to, okay, because you're going to take a washcloth or some paper towels and you're going to cleanse that wherever you're about to set up your altar. So if it's a desk, you're going to take that and cleanse that desk from top to bottom, every single piece of it, okay? If you can reach up under there and get the bottom, reach up under there and get the bottom too. You're going to cleanse the whole thing, the legs of it, all that. The shells, if it has shells, if it got cubbies, everything needs to be cleansed, okay? You can also use that shit as a floor wash. But be careful, though, because sometimes that shit can fuck up your floors, so be careful. You probably got to dilute it a lot if you're going to use it on your floors. You can use it to wash your windows, wash your walls, all that shit, okay? It's multi-purpose. But yeah, you're going to cleanse off that, whatever you're using, okay? The altar, whatever, okay? And then after that, you're going to go get a white sheet or like a small altar sheet or towel type of thing. It can be like a linen sheet. It can be like a cotton sheet. It doesn't matter. It just needs to be white. Anytime we're dealing with ancestors, we use white. Okay? So you're going to get that white sheet and you're going to put that there. Okay? If you want to speak intentions to the white sheet, you can do that. Colors have properties too. So you can look up the properties of that color and put intentions into that as well. Okay? The more intensive you are with it, the better it will be and the more powerful it will be. And by the time you finish setting that shit up, you're going to feel the fucking power of that space. Trust me. Okay? Get your white sheet. Then you're going to take a piece of paper or journal or whatever, and you're going to write out your intentions for the altar. And you're going to name by name, first and last if you can, the ancestors that you want to occupy that space. So it'll be like, I'm so happy and grateful that this altar is used by my granddaddy, blah, 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 my grandmama, blah, 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 my auntie, blah, 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 whoever. I'm so happy that they use this altar to connect with me and I use it to connect with them. I'm so happy that this altar in this space brings me abundance and protection and prosperity and whoop-de-whoop, wop-de-wop-de-wop. You're going to write out your intention. Okay? When you're finished with that intention, you're going to put that smack dab in the middle of your space. Okay? If it's a desk, the desk. If it's a dresser, the dresser. Whatever the fuck it is. Okay? Then you're going to get your dressings for the altar. You need a plate. It needs to be a white plate. And it needs to be a glass plate. We don't use plastic on our altar. Okay? We don't do that. That's ghetto. And that shows you don't really give a fuck. And it's just distasteful. We're not doing that. Okay? That is rinky dink. Get you a glass plate. Okay? A white glass plate. Alright? And you're going to put that glass plate right on top of your petition. Okay? Now, that specific glass plate is going to be where you put your candle. Okay? You're going to put your candle on top of that glass plate. Now, if you plan on serving your ancestors offerings of food, then you want to have a separate glass plate that's for them and for them only. Don't let it be something that you already used. This needs to be something new that you purchase only for that altar. They need to have their own shit. Okay? Don't use the damn plate and you just ate lasagna off that junk last night and chicken wings and then you wash it off and put it on the goddamn altar. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? Let them have their own shit. Okay? So I would suggest getting 2 plates. If you're going to do food offerings, which you should, at least once a week. One will be for your candle, and you can use a saucer for your candle plate. And then the other one can be an actual plate, or it can be another saucer. It just depends on how much food you plan on giving them. Alright, so glass plate, you need to have 2 glasses, or either a glass and a mug, like a coffee mug, because ancestors love coffee. Alright, and they love to have some coffee on that altar, you know, throughout the week. Okay? So you need 1 glass, 1 regular glass. It can be a clear glass. It don't got to be white. Or it can be white. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. But it can be a clear glass. And then you need to have either another glass for coffee or a glass coffee mug. It can be a clear one. It can be a white one. It doesn't matter. Alright? That's for your liquids. You also need a shot glass. Okay? Because alcohol is very, very useful in the spiritual realm. So you always want to keep you a shot glass there. Alright? I'll get into the specifics of the food in a second. Then you want to get a white 7-day candle. I recommend 7-day candles because they burn literally for 7 days. And you don't have to worry about changing them out too much, right? You can buy them in bulk on Amazon. Amazon, I used to get like 10 to 27-day candles for like 15 to 20, maybe $30. And those shits will last me at least 2 months, because you're going to replace it every 7 days. So it's 4 weeks in a month. You got 7 candles minimum. So that's going to last you at least 2 months, right? I think they also have 10-day candles, I think, or 12-day candles, one of them. Doesn't matter, but if you want to be more cost effective, instead of buying them little ass candles and you got to keep, that's just too much. 7-day candles are perfect. They burn for 7 days. You don't have to worry about that shit. You can just leave it and live your life, okay? So you want a 7-day candle, white, okay? And then that's going to be your representation of fire, right? So all altars have to have a representation of all the 4 elements: fire, earth, water, and air. So your representation of fire will be your candle, okay? It has to burn all the time. There always needs to be a candle burning. Now, you can always, like if you're doing spell work and you're doing candle magic, you can always add another candle to the altar. But you never replace that main candle, okay? As far as like moving it or anything like that. All you do is change out the candle every time it goes out, right? But if you're doing a spell, you're not going to be like, okay, let me put this candle to the side and put the spell one right here. No. It can go on your altar in another spot, okay? But that candle doesn't move. So you want to have that there. That's your representation of fire. Then you want your representation of earth. Now, that can be a number of different things. That can be crystals. That can be flowers. That can be fruits. Like I like putting like bananas or oranges, or you know, those fruits that you can kind of leave there for a while. You don't really have to keep changing it out. It's not gonna go bad super quick. A whole pineapple if you want to. I mean, it's completely up to you, however you want to do it. Some people put whole fucking watermelons on their altar, depending on how big it is. Like whatever, right? Anything that comes from the earth, anything that can represent the earth. If you want to use like a stick or some rocks or some dirt, I mean, it's your world, okay? Whatever you feel called to put on there. Representation of earth. Then you need water, okay? That glass that you had, that clear glass, that's your water glass. The same way that candle stays lit, that glass always needs water in it. Always has to have water in that glass, okay? And with that glass, don't be rinky-dink and give them no tap water. Do you drink water from the tap? No. Get you a bottle of water, fill that glass up, okay? Over time, it'll evaporate, depending on what's going on. It'll either evaporate or you'll see the bubbles in it or whatever. Once a week, you switch the water out, right? So I always have, and you should always have one day out of the week that you do altar cleanup, right? And doing it one day a week just makes it easier to keep up with, especially if you're doing different shit on the altar and stuff like that, right? So my altar cleanup days is usually Sundays, because I'm not doing shit, and Sunday is a very spiritual day. Like, why the fuck not, right? That'll be the day that I kind of cleanse everything, change out whatever I need to change out, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that, okay? So set that up, put that water in there, all right? That's your representation of water, obviously. And then you need a representation of air. So representation of air could be like matches. You could put a cigarette on there, because ancestors love tobacco. So you can put a cigarette on there. You can put sage, Palo Santo. I mean, anything else that you can think of that would represent air, you put that on there, okay? So you have all of your elements down. The second thing, or the next thing you want to move on to, is photos. If you have pictures of your ancestors, definitely put them on the altar. The ones that you wrote down only. Don't put no pictures of nobody else that you didn't write down, okay? Also, if you have pictures of these ancestors, but they're in the picture with somebody who was still living, cut the living person out. You never put anybody who was living on your altar. Never put anybody who is living on your altar. No, don't light the tobacco. Just put it on there. You can light it sometimes if you want, and like exchange it if you want, like an incense. Incense are also a good representation of air as well. I would light an incense on my altar every day. But nobody who is living goes on the altar. That's a no-no. Okay, that's like spell work. The altar's for people who are no longer here in the physical realm. So you don't want to put somebody who is walking around and living and breathing on that altar, because you're inviting the wrong type of, you're sending the wrong message. Okay, so people who are alive never go on the altar. Also, altar is only for blood related people. So don't put your favorite auntie, the hood auntie, the ones that you're not really related to but you related to, don't put her on your altar. It's not, the altar is for your ancestors, those who are blood related to you. Okay, let's say for instance you're and you're married, and you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, and you and your spouse are both spiritual, and y'all both want altar set up. Don't mix the families. They need to have their own altar. You have your own altar for your family. You don't mix, okay? You don't do that. That's a no-no. All right, you got your shit for your people. I got my shit for my people. All right, if you have a child and your child is, spiritual, and you trying to teach them spirituality and you want them to have an altar, you can set them up an altar in their space as well. Altars are pro children. Okay, so don't think that it's like, oh, I feel like they're too young. No, if they're old enough to understand it, they can have an altar. Okay, but yeah, don't mix families and stuff on the altar. Now, if they're all related to you, then cool, you can put them up there. But if it's like you and your man, or you and your girlfriend, no. You have your own shit over there, I got my own shit over there. And don't put them next to each other either. There need to be some space in between them things. Either another room, preferably another room. Honestly. Okay? Because then you're going to have chaos. I don't got time for that. So that's that. You can print out pictures, you can put picture frames, doesn't matter. It can be like, I know for my grandfather, I had a necklace with his picture on it that I use on the altar as, the picture for him. It can be anything as long as it has a picture of them on it. If you don't have pictures, it's okay, because you already wrote their name down. But if you have pictures, it helps. You know what I'm saying? It just adds a little bit more seasoning to it. I'm trying to think of what else you need for the setup. You can also have little trinkets of things that maybe those ancestors liked. So I know my grandfather liked watches, so you can put like a watch on there. Or if they have things that you still have of theirs, so let's say it's a watch that he used to wear, then I will put that one there. If it's something like jewelry, you can put the jewelry there, whatever. Okay, but whatever you put on there, you got to keep on there. So don't put nobody's watch or jewelry on there and then you pick it up and be like, actually, I changed my mind, I want to wear it and keep it. No. Now, if you feel led to wear it for a day for like protection or something, then that's cool. But if you want to, there's no take backsies. So once you give it, it's theirs. So anything you put on that altar kind of had a mentality like, okay, this is going to stay here. Okay. I'm trying to think of anything else as far as setup. Yeah, okay, so water stays in the water glass 24/7. Candle stays lit 24/7. The shot glass, you can fill the shot glass with liquor if you want, and that can stay there 24/7 as well. Coffee, you can make coffee. You can use instant coffee. You can make coffee with the little Keurig or whatever, it don't matter. Put it in your little coffee mug, and that can stay there as well. On your cleanup days or on your reset days, pick a day throughout the week that you can be consistent with. If it's a weekend day, cool. Some of y'all work the weekend, so maybe the middle of the week. It don't matter, okay? Pick a day that works for you, and on that day, you're going to reset the altar. So, for example, you're going to pour out the water, you're going to clean the glass, and you're going to put it back and refill it. If that candle has burned out, you're going to switch out your candle. If you've put some liquor in that shot glass, you're going to pour the liquor out, and then you're going to redo put some more liquor in there. Now, when I'm doing the water, if there's still water in there, I'll use it on like a plant, or I'll throw it in the grass. You know what I'm saying? Because the spiritual realm is all about repurposing things. So you don't have to like put it down the drain. You don't drink it, but you don't have to put it down the drain. You know what I'm saying? You can throw it outside in the grass, or if you got plants in the house, you can water your plant. Or if you want to put it in like a spiritual wash, you can do that, a floor wash or something. You can add that little thing in there because it's charged water at that point. But yeah, you can multi-purpose the water. Just don't drink it, don't cook with it, don't do no shit like that. Now that's crazy. The coffee, you redo the coffee on that day too. So you'll remake coffee and put it back in the mug. Coffee, that can stay on there for at least a week. The liquor can stay on there for at least a week. The water, at least a week. Nothing more than 7 days, okay? Because then at that point, you're just neglecting it, and that's crazy. If you feel the intention to reset it in, you know, a quicker amount of time, so let's say you want to do every 3 days, you reset, and whatever. It's your business. Just don't go past 7 days. Don't go past 7 days, okay? 7 is enough, all right? Now, if you plan on doing an offering, offerings don't always have to be a whole meal. It can be, but it don't have to be. So an offering can be tobacco, an offering can be liquor, an offering can be food, a plate of food. It can be fruit, it can be flowers, it can be money, coins, dollars. They have ancestor money that you can burn. You can burn ancestor money. You can burn real money. If it's like $1, you like, fuck it, I'm just gonna burn it. You can burn it. What else? If it's something that they like, so let's say like my grandfather specifically, he loves Pepsis, and he loves tomatoes. So maybe I get a Pepsi and I just put the bottle of Pepsi on there, or I can put it in that shot glass, or if I'm not using the shot glass, or I'll get another glass and put it in there. Or I'll slice a tomato and season it the way that he would eat it and put that on my little saucer that I got for my altar, that other plate that I told y'all in the beginning. I'll put that on that plate and put it on there. If I have more than one ancestor, I'll make kind of like a charcuterie plate. So one section may be some tomatoes or shit for my grandfather. The other section may be some blueberries or blackberries for my grandmother. The other section may be some cookies or something sweet, or whatever. It'd be like a little snack plate. Or if you make a meal, then you can put the full plate of food on the altar. And it needs to look like a plate that somebody would actually eat. So it don't have to be a full plate, especially in this economy. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta get them no big ass portion. It can be a little saucer plate, but it needs to be proportioned. You know what I'm saying? A piece of chicken, a scoop of macaroni and cheese, a little bit of greens, a little bit of yams, a little bit of black peas, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? Fill it up so that it looks, you know what I'm saying, look like somebody about to eat it. And you place that on the altar. Now, when it comes to food like that, perishables, plates, there's a couple of signs that you can know when it's time to take the food off of the altar. I say don't keep it on there more than 48 to 72 hours. That's 2 to 3 days. Okay? Especially if you don't want rodents and shit like that. Okay? That's number one. But sometimes you don't have to wait that long. If you pick up that plate and you flip it over and don't nothing move and it's all stuck to the plate, or you look at it and it look like it's starting to mold, or it look like it's drying out, like it look like somebody sucked the moisture out of everything, that means that it was a successful offering and you can go ahead and toss it. Now, you don't just toss it normally. Get you a brown paper bag. You can get brown paper bags from anywhere. Get you some brown paper bags. Some stores will give you brown paper bags, or you can just buy some. Put the food in that, and then you can either roll that bag down and then put that in the trash, or you can take that to like the woods and just put it out there. Let the animals eat the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? Repurposing, okay? You don't have to never throw nothing away if you don't need to. Even when it comes to, like, let's say you put fruit on your altar and the fruit is starting to, you know, mold, or it's starting to dry out or whatever, you can put that outside too. Okay? Let the squirrels and the deers and whoever else eat that shit. You know what I'm saying? You can repurpose it. Or you can bury it. You can always bury it as well. If you have like a hole, you can make a hole in your ground. If you got the backyard or front yard or whatever, you can always make a hole and just put it all in there. And that's natural compost. The earth will break it down and make something out of it. Trust me. Okay? So you can always repurpose it. But if you're going to put it in the trash can, always put it in a brown paper bag first, and then you can put it in the trash bag. Or in the trash can, or mix it with the other trash. Okay? But you want to keep it separate. Let me see. Make sure I answer all the questions. Yeah, don't eat the food after you offer it to them. No. If you have children, like let's say you have a child, a younger child, and let's say you put something on the altar like candy or sweets or something, and it's fresh, and they go and they eat from it, they're fine. Children are fine. Now, if it's been sitting there for a day or something, then no. But if you just, like, put some candy over there, you know, candy can sit on an altar for a long time. Candy can sit, period, for a long time. Or if you make a little plate and your little toddler go over there and start taking the chicken off of there, it's okay. Don't beat them. Don't whoop them. A lot of times, you know, children are very connected to the spiritual realm. So some of those ancestors may offer them things. And that's, you know, they love children. So if they offer it to them and you see the child going over there and eating from it or whatever, it's okay. They didn't do anything wrong. Don't get upset. Don't get mad. It's fine. All right. I think that's all I got for altars. Any other specific questions? We're gonna wrap up in a second here. Everybody good? Any other last minute? Any other tips on elevating? Elevating how, babe? Like, on your journey? What you mean? Like, into the next step. Spiritually? Do you do any mudras when you meditate, or do you let your hands? Sometimes I do. I do the basic this or that. It depends. Sometimes I would suggest, you know, doing them if you feel led to. Look up the different ones and what they mean, and yeah, go for it. Elevating spiritually. We talked about meditation. That's definitely one. We talked about ancestors. Those are two key ones. Also, studying. Study everything. Study everything, because like I said before, you never know what ties into what else. You never know what can spark something in another area of your life or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So study everything that you can. You know, you may be looking up politics, and that shit opens you up to something else over here. Like, through me studying politics, I was able to learn more about health and spirituality and how those two things go together. So you just never know what information could be connected to other information. So study every fucking thing. Look into everything. Ask questions. You can ask questions out loud, like, Spirit, I'm trying to figure out why this is this, and I'm trying to figure out why that is that. And then you'll follow your intuition and you'll be led to those answers. Can you explain what to do when you feel energy or heat from your hands? So a lot of the time we talk about chakras, people only think about the 7 main chakras, but you have chakras in the soles of your hands and at the bottom of your feet in your kneecaps. There's a couple different chakra centers. Your ears. There's more than just 7, right? You're welcome, honey bun. So the same way you have the chakras have meaning, like your heart chakra has a meaning, your throat chakra has a meaning. These chakras also have meanings. So what I would say is research what the meanings of the chakras in the hands are, and based on that, it'll kind of give you an idea of why they're heating up. Also, I know sometimes when certain gifts are being activated, you can get heat in those areas. This goes back to the nervous system. So the nervous system will send electrical waves to that area and it will produce heat. The same way like you touch a lamp and it's hot, right? It's not because it's heating up necessarily, but it's because of the electrical current that's going through it, long enough to make it hot. So I would look that up first and kind of figure out, what those chakras mean in those areas, and then I will compare that to what's going on in your life. Also, again, like I said, gift activation. If you use your hands and you're gifted through your hands, that could be what's going on. I don't want to say for sure that's your situation, because it can be, only you would know ultimately why it's doing that based on your research and based on your intuition. But that could be a possibility. Like let's say you do hair or you do nails or you're a healer or whatever. Okay, it could be activating that. So yeah, that kind of goes back to research. Research everything again. Every fucking thing. And the key to research is not just looking shit up. It's also putting yourself in a space where you can get the information when it's being presented to you. So you don't need to just research shit and set an intention to get information and then you just start not paying attention to the signs, right? Because it's like asking somebody something and then they be like, okay, cool. And they start pointing you in the direction that you need to go in, but then you're not paying attention to it. So you kind of got to, that's why I be saying tap in. When I say tap in, I mean be more present. The more present you are, the more you'll pay attention to, the more you'll see, the more signs, symbols, hints, intuitive messages, whatever, the more you'll start to see. And based on that, you'll have direction on what your next move should be, or even just straight out answers to what you need to know. All right. Any additional questions? Can we get these likes to 40 before I get up off of here? Also, if you want to contribute to the live goal, feel free to, because I'm about to close out. So any additional gifts are appreciated. Any additional likes are appreciated. They help with this platform. If you support the platform and you want it to grow, then that is a way to help. Also, make sure that you follow. My YouTube is in the comments. If you can pin my YouTube again, because all of this will be posted on my YouTube for those who want to watch it from the beginning. I'm also going to put in the comments my website. Like I said, I do have a sale on my website right now for spiritual services. If you spend $55, you get 10% off of an additional service. This special will go on until the last day of January, and then I'll probably do another different sale for February, but that's the one for this month. I can't pin my website, however, it's in the comments. It's not gonna let me pin it. Also, I am on Bigo. Bigo is another live streaming app, and I am on there. I won't go live on there today, but I will probably be live on there tomorrow at some point during the day. So make sure that if you do have that platform, that you follow me over there. or download it and use it just for me, because that would be nice, or whatever. Anyway, light and love to everyone. I hope that you guys have got something out of this. Again, this will be posted on YouTube for those who want to watch it from the beginning. For those who miss any parts of this, like I said, we'll go back to doing more lives where I can just talk about different topics and answer different spiritual questions and shit like that. So definitely feel free at any point to type your questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question, with me at least. So feel free to ask me whatever it is that you want to, especially in regards to spirituality, or if you want my opinion on something that's going on currently. I try to keep up with at least what's going on as much as I can. If it's something that I don't know about, feel free to explain it to me in the comments and I'll give you what I can. Other than that, I will see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, so we'll do a reading tomorrow to close out the week. I'll be on here a little bit longer as well. I'll kind of go back to doing longer lives like I used to in the beginning. So feel free to set me up somewhere and put your headphones in, or if you're at work, yeah. Try to get on here a little bit earlier as well, like I used to, you know, sometime during the afternoon to catch y'all during lunchtime and shit like that. So yeah, those are my plans. Definitely make sure that you follow so that you can get my live notifications. Light and love to everybody who stuck around. Light and love to everybody who came through it all. Thanks you. Special thanks to all the people who sent gifts, all the people who liked, all the people who commented, all the people who asked questions, all the people who show up every time I go live. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to my moderators. Shout out to the people who have booked services. Shout out to the people who have gone on the website and booked services. Shout out to everybody, okay? I love y'all real bad, and without you guys, it would just be pointless to be doing all of this. So thank you guys for allowing me to share my gifts and my knowledge, and also learn from y'all, but, you know, the different things that I learned from y'all as well. And we're going to close out this month strong, and next month is really going to be amazing. I have a lot of things in store, a lot of surprises, lots of special stuff that we're going to be getting into as we go throughout this year. This year is definitely going to be one of those ones. So come along for the journey with me as I come along for the journey with y'all. And we're going to make this one count for sure, for sure. All right. Light and love to everybody. Have an amazing and safe evening. And I will see y'all tomorrow.